if you guys are watching this live, which it should be, then he's being mean to me. He's been very, very mean to me.
Cloud9 and G2 spring split 2020 finals. Let's celebrate with 3 exclamation points. You were the title creating god. Look at you.
Holy crap. All right, guys. If you guys are watching this live, thank you very much. If you're watching this from the VOD, because YouTube unsubs people for some reason.
I don't know if that's true.
But in any case, G2 and Cloud9 have won the LCS and LEC Spring Split Finals. They won both in convincing fashion. The Cloud9 game with FlyQuest in Game 1 was like in quotations, maybe the closest one, but other than that, it's pretty much 3-0 stomps. So
I don't think probably Game 3 was the closest one because they got to the point.
Was Game 3 closest? Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe Game 3.
It's all up to it's all up to people's interpretation, but I feel like Game 3 was probably the closest, and even that wasn't very close at all.
Which one you want to start with first, G2 or Fnatic?
It don't matter to me.
Well, LEC guys. Well, time to be a
Stop
champion.
pulling your clothes off.
Time to be. I'm a champion, and it's this is the only day where both teams of mine are gonna win. So I gotta celebrate. I told him to bring alcohol, but he's like, no, I can't.
Bringing alcohol, you dork.
All
So
right.
my big thing about obviously I was the only one that called this. You said Fnatic was probably gonna win, and I said G2 was probably gonna 3-0.
My predictions, I put G2 winning.
This was before the second.
I know.
Before the losers finals.
I said
You
it
said
wouldn't be surprising if Fnatic won because they were playing good.
What you told me, remember the last time we streamed, you said
yes.
Fnatic's probably gonna win, and I said G2 is 100. I said G2 is most likely gonna win this one.
Replay the VOD. I don't remember actually. Maybe I did.
I'll pull it up and I'll make you look like a nerd.
Whoa! But in my predictions, guys, I always say the right thing. But I did give I predicted a 3-1 for both of them.
My big thing about it, obviously, is first off, Caps played an ADC all 3 of the games. Caps only played ADCs that entire time, which is actually, in my opinion, pretty.
It's really weird because
No, I mean that's just something. It's a good quality in complete. Honesty.
Do you think he really changed from like?
I mean, he played Kog'Maw and Aphelios. They're 2 pretty heavily ability-based ADCs, which means that I don't think I'm 100% sold that he can play them.
I think people might be overrating his performance by a certain point after this.
Well, I mean, I don't think he was the one. Like, obviously, I think for the most part, I think he played pretty well. I think the big thing I think though is that Bwipo played horrible. I think that Bwipo.
Oh my god!
Well, no,
going from like MVP level to playing like
he was
that.
never an MVP level. I don't think so.
He was.
I think
he was in the talking consideration.
He was in the
for
talk.
it.
Everybody puts people in talking considerations when they're on one of the higher winning teams. I think that my big thing about it, obviously, is I never thought he was better than Alfari. I think that Wonder just didn't play as well as usual, but I still think he was probably the best top laner.
Mickey X really started stepping up toward the very end.
I mean, again, all around, I think the big reason as to why a lot of us want to say that G2 probably wasn't going to win is because we didn't want them to. But it seemed like they were taking a lot of the game slow-paced, and when they started, like the beginning of the playoffs, obviously, since they don't matter that much, the first games, it really doesn't have much of an impact on the entirety of the playoffs. It didn't seem like they were really playing to the standard that they usually play at, and they kind of slacked off a little bit on that. But for the most part, I think that it seemed pretty inevitable that they'd do at least a lot better and like do a little bit better in these types of games.
I even said, remember?
You said what?
I even said that people are going to overrate the Mad Lions performance, and then when G2 beats them again, and then they beat Fnatic, it's only going to make them look worse. It only just looks like G2 were just playing worse. It doesn't mean like Mad Lions were playing good.
That's how the narrative's going to be. Jeez, dude.
No, but that's how the narrative's going to be.
There's no narrative. You have to give credit.
The narrative will be that Mad Lions weren't that good, and G2 only started playing bad.
Are you saying what are you saying now? I don't know what you're
saying.
It's
like in hindsight, when it happened, it was like, oh my god, Mad Lions are really good.
No one said that. Everybody said, "Wow, I'm impressed." No one thought they were going to beat them the second time. I don't think any of
nobody
the
predicted the second time. No one predicted
dude, because you're over exaggerating how good people thought everybody was. The reality is that Fnatic obviously did not look. Mad Lions obviously were not the superior team. It was obvious to most people that they didn't play up to their standard. I mean, Caps was terrible that entire series.
Good lord! I think he got. Is it fair to say he got better as the series went as each series got?
Well, I mean, obviously, you can't get worse than the first series. The second series,
it's only uphill from there.
Yeah, the second series against what's it called? Against Origin, I don't think he played.
You saw improvement at least.
He was fine. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't the MVP of that series. Is all I'm saying. And then this last series, I think he played really well. They kept putting him on Kog'Maw and all that stuff.
To be fair, even if you feed on Kog'Maw, as long as you're still outputting damage, you're going to scale too.
Well, my big thing about Kog'Maw is he's a straight up. It's the ADC. If you want to learn how to position, it has to be Kog'Maw because he doesn't really have any abilities to be able to duel anybody else. His abilities themselves don't do much damage, so you're kind of required to learn how to learn how to position as a player with him. And I think that's something I really that's my biggest thing. I really did enjoy them putting him on that because it's really going to help him as a player, like in the future. It's going to really help him grow as an ADC in general. And like for the most part, we saw a lot of improvements from like his previous series. We saw,
positioning errors,
all the stuff.
He couldn't team fight properly.
The Aphelios pick, I mean, again, you just pick Aphelios because he's really good. I mean, like obviously everybody's picking Aphelios right now. On top of the fact that like it's really easy for transitional mids to be able to play him because he is more reliant on like abilities than other ADCs usually are. Like I mean, he's good at that. Mm-hmm. I think that Zai is pretty reliant and like Twitch and all that stuff. Like for the most part, there's a lot of ADCs like Vayne and stuff that require straight up auto attacking that I don't think he would be able to do yet. But not only because of his positioning is terrible, but because of the fact that he's not, in my opinion, the most gifted ADC player as it stands right now. But obviously, like, in my opinion, I think he looks a lot better at bot lane than Perks did at the beginning of the year. Like his ADC right now looks better than Perks did at this point in time last year. I think Perks had a few good ADC characters, but in general, I don't think his ADC skills as a whole were as good. I mean, he doesn't position as well as like his positioning was fine, but mechanically, I think he was a lot worse than Caps was when he first transitioned over.
A lot of people have said that Mickey was the MVP of this. A lot of people have talked about Perks being really well. I think Perks looked pretty good.
Who actually ended up winning it? I didn't watch.
Who?
Do you know?
Which one? This?
The MVP of this one.
The MVP? I think they gave it to Mickey.
They gave it to Mickey? I mean, I'd assume so.
It's kind of hard, though, because everybody on G2 on a good day could be an MVP player, though. That's really crazy. Well, except, like,
that's my biggest problem with G2 is it's an unrealistic... Like, in pretty much any sport, in any game, you don't usually get the best players of anything on the same team, but they suck the best players on an entire region into the same team, and it really is unrealistic for the rest of the region on how well they play. They don't really have a challenge in their region because they took all the best, like literally the best support, the best top laner, the best jungler, the best mid laner, and the best ADC right now.
And the best mid laners.
I'm just saying,
swapping roles.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
still won.
It's frustrating because I don't like the fact that there's no competition. You made the entire region as a whole worse, so you can make one team better. You just want to. It's like again, this is the best chance that EU has of winning Worlds because. Like Fnatic has never been like honestly they went a few times but they've never been in my opinion somebody who's gonna contend for Worlds. Like they were never last season. I don't think they were that incredible. Even when they went to finals, I don't think they were. Yeah, thank you. They were not incredibly like on point in terms of like ability. Like they would have lost to G2. They would have lost to IG. I think they would have lost. I mean not G2. They would have lost.
Well, no, IG of that year.
They honestly
2019 would have lost to IG. IG beat Griffin, who was supposed to be the best team in the world.
I mean,
we're saying that Fnatic were not going to beat IG,
I
even
think
though
Fnatic,
they were looking bad.
Yeah, I'm saying all around, I think that I'm not super like EU as a whole is not as impressive as China and Korea, but EU conglomerated their best players onto one team is like genuinely impressive in my opinion. But I don't like bringing down their entire region. Like I don't like putting one team on. Like if they could make 2 to 3 teams as good as this, I'd be fine with it. But I don't.
I think that's what Fnatic are trying to be.
Well, no, Fnatic just are never going to be on this level until they somehow buy off some of these players because there's no one in the league that's as good as the players on this team. It's not only just that, they have a really solid coaching staff that understands their strengths. Like there's just like I don't want to give too much credit to G2, but like they genuinely made probably the best Western team of all time 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be the best.
Because this is the crazy thing is that going into this, Fnatic had 7 titles, G2 had 6. Now G2 has 7 titles. They have an MSI title. They've won the last 3 splits in a row.
I mean,
so if they win the next title, which is in summer, they'll have even combined themselves with TL's record of going back to back to back. But they already went back to back before. But they'll have gotten they'll be the only Western team to win 8 splits in 2 different periods. Because they'll have won from 2016 to 2017.
Did you say 2 different periods? They have won 8 splits in 2 different periods.
No, they'll have won 4 splits in 2 different periods. From when they first came in winning 4, and then in this period, they'll have won 4.
That's such a niche
thing. But that's crazy,
it's
though.
Not, I mean, that specific accolade is not crazy, but it's crazy that they've won that much.
Yeah.
Like, that's a niche
That goes to show you how strong G2 actually is.
Would have been a competition in order to perform well in international events. That's what everybody hopes. That's what everybody wished.
I mean...
No,
there's 2 different ways you can look at it.
No.
You can't... I don't know, because people said the same thing last year about G2 when they went to MSI, and then they were surprised that G2 were competing with the best teams.
The thing about it is, I never said that about G2, because most people who actually say that are living in a world of... Like, not understanding... No, they're living in a world of not actually looking at the players themselves and comparing them. The fast-paced playstyle that G2 put out, on top of the fact that every single one of their players was literally MVP caliber except for Perks.
Yeah, and then he became MVP caliber toward the very end of the year.
No, that didn't happen.
I mean, maybe.
He was able to play mages pretty well, and that was really good for them, the versatility. But at the same time, they couldn't play ADCs, which was a big, that was the downfall for them in the FPX series. But let's be realistic. Cloud9 did not have any competition. Like look at FlyQuest. FlyQuest's entire playstyle is reactionary, which was good 7 years ago, when there was no good play. Like they have a completely reactionary playstyle. And if you look at their Evil Geniuses series, like literally level 3 or was it level 5? What's his name? The mid laner for Evil Geniuses?
Jizuke
TP's down at 25% HP. He wasn't getting attacked as he was TPing. He just TP'd down for free.
And just to die.
He just TP'd down with no HP, no mana for ult. He didn't have mana for ult. Just completely killed himself. behind their backline. Like, that was the worst play I've seen the entire playoffs.
Oh but my God.
The reality is that Cloud9 really did not have anybody to compete with them. Like, there was no team in NA that was able to. And I think they'll do moderately okay in, like, international play. There's just not a team with their type of playstyle in the world.
I just don't like to put asterisks on certain things like that, or they're not going to do well because of this reason.
Well, they didn't have competition. They could do well.
That I'm not going to argue with.
Because, they didn't have competition. They could do well. I don't think they're going to struggle with a completely different type of playstyle.
Like a playstyle like Gen G's.
Their entire playstyle requires around reacting, like being able to react to things quick enough, or making, like, they don't usually make the first plays around the map. They're more so a better version of FlyQuest. They're a reactionary type of team. They're able to initiate in the early game, but ganks aren't usually the thing they do. They more so look for, like, kind of skirmishes against their enemy jungler or TP plays, and they're able to do it pretty consistently. Like, I think that I really liked, like, again, TSM's playstyle is my favorite. TSM's playstyle past 5 minutes is not my favorite anymore. Like, they it was really
weird before, because back in the day they could only do late game. Then they turn into an early game team. Then you can't play mid game.
I'm just saying, just realistically, FlyQuest, when they played against Evil Geniuses, there was one in.
You can keep talking. I'm just gonna just.
I can't see anything. What are you doing?
No, they can still see you. You're good.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, but TSM
after party. Let's celebrate. That's literally, you did all that so you could put after party in the title.
Hell yeah.
That's stupid.
Because we're celebrating.
We're not celebrating. I'm crying.
But, oh my God.
Like, I want to point out, Centaur, like, we saw the combination of the 2 worst junglers in the playoffs fight in that series. There was a combined, like, 2 to 3 ganks the entire series that weren't TP plays.
You're talking about EG versus...
EG versus FlyQuest. There was, like, 2 ganks to 3 ganks the entire series.
I told you Santorin's useless.
This is not usually how he plays. Usually he's slightly more aggressive.
They put him on Trundle. I swear I didn't see this guy gank one time in that C9 series.
I'm just telling you, they keep putting him on Trundle, and that's literally the least... It's not even just that. I mean, he's just not ganking. You can gank with Trundle, but, like, this guy is just power farmer. Like,
what's up with TSM? There's a lot up with TSM, Ziliac. There's a lot up with TSM.
I'm going to say, the reason they won that Cloud9 versus... I mean, not Cloud9. The EG versus... What's it called? Is because... It wasn't even like they were winning team fights to get to it. They literally did not contest a single dragon. The one time they didn't have a soul by 22 minutes, they lost. This is FlyQuest was they rely on reactionary plays in the top side to bot side, and they just kind of move around from there and hope they can win the fights. And the reason they can't beat Cloud9 is because they don't have as good of players. TSM is straight up stomped them every single early game. Like, but
It was
they
weird
did
though, because the best of ones that C9 and TSM did play, even the one they lost first part of the split, TSM won the early game.
They know that's all TSM can do. Literally, just look at the TSM. Like I've said this a million. Like we went through over the TSM versus FlyQuest a lot. I don't want to do it too much, but just look at the game itself. Like literally, they would have like 5,000 gold leads, and then like let them go to their like. Wild Turtle was splitting and getting tier 2s because they didn't stop the waves or they didn't react in time to stop his push.
People said it wasn't gonna work against C9.
5-man tower dove a tier 1 at 22 minutes. And then they took an inhib.
In my defense for them, they were losing that game 5.
What? No, you don't tower dive 5-man.
You gotta.
They were down like 1,000 gold.
You gotta make picks or something.
You don't make 5-man dives.
Slowly and lose.
You don't make 5-man dives on a tier 1 22 minutes in when they have.
I understand.
You don't understand. You don't understand because there's there was no common sense used in that play. Do you think TSM forced their junglers to play? They
do.
That's not
even a question in my mind.
Like Dardoch played his style. It's the champions they put him on. Like the reason that like some of the ganks didn't work is because J4 is one of the champions that sets up ganks and doesn't have the damage himself to finish off the kills.
But that's why certain games they drafted Broken Blade, Aurelia, and Aatrox so he could.
It would have been great if Broken Blade had landed an ability that game, but obviously that wasn't going to be the case.
That's too hard.
So they pick him Elise. And obviously, like with Elise, you have the damage yourself to pretty much finish him off. You can stun him a pretty substantial amount of time and then finish him off by yourself.
I could literally see the tilt in Dardoch's plays when no one would follow up on anything.
It's not like no one would follow up. Yeah, it is like no one would follow up.
Yeah,
like literally,
I'll give you that actually.
Dardoch is one of the most underappreciated. Like I think he was one of the best junglers in the playoffs this split. In the playoffs, I think he played better. He made a lot of really bad plays in the first, what was the first team that TSM lost to?
Oh, for 100 Thieves?
Yeah, he made really bad. No,
in that series, he made bad plays.
He did make bad plays. Like when he ran down, just straight up ran it through mid as Olaf. Like I don't know what he's doing. Like a lot of his Gragas, he played really poorly on Gragas.
When he played Sejuani, he just ran it into Sejuani.
No, that was the FlyQuest series, and I don't want to talk about that because that hurt my feelings. That was just like, what was this man even doing? Like it didn't make any sense. But realistically, TSM's over and done with, so I kind of want to talk about Cloud9 because they actually.
Well, we can talk about the first series, and then we'll go back. We'll go back to G2 and Fnatic in a little bit because that was.
What is the first series? I don't know what you're talking about.
Damien boy, hey, what's up, man? He's been waiting for us to stream all day.
Which Damien is it? There's like 7 Damiens.
He's the guy who always asks about like the LCK and LPL. I did watch the LCK and LPL this time around, but dude, I did. I remember.
Dude.
Okay, so we'll talk about Fly versus EG first.
You want some more?
You hated that series, didn't you?
Fly versus the EG. Well, the reason is, I mean, EG straight up mindless aggression. Like they're like TSM, but they don't have the players to do it. They literally just rushed it down. Like Jizuke level 1, level 3, TP'd in with not enough mana to use more than 2 abilities, so he double bombed and didn't get a stun off, and then didn't have mana to ult himself. He was already 30 HP by then. Like when he TP'd down, he wasn't getting attacked. You want to steal Power of Evil for 100 Thieves? I think somebody needs to steal, like.
That would be really good.
That would be really good for them. They would have 2 high econ players, but the thing about it is obviously.
But Power of Evil, the thing with Ryoma is that he can only play low econ. Power of Evil can play low econ and be a carry.
I don't think he can play low econ. I think more so Someday can play low econ, and that's the thing I would think would make it work out. My big thing obviously is. You can't obviously put the best players onto one team unless you're D2. It's not possible. You can't just stick all the all-stars on one team.
Now, luckily, TSM tried to do that at one point.
They never, successfully did it because they just didn't put... Do you think Blabber deserved MVP? I'm going to let you say yes.
I don't even think he deserved... It's not... Okay, like, he could be top 4 of the split to get it. I think... I explained it in my news video. I think Nisqy deserves it.
If you want my honest...
reasons that I laid out... It's hard. Junglers look better when all their lanes are winning. So like when Broxa was in 2018 Fnatic, or how all his lanes were always winning, and people say he was the best jungler in the world. Like look how that turned. People always like to ride narratives because that's just the thing to do. When in reality, you don't want to look at a player like 2 years from now and go, okay, did I choose the wrong person? I personally think that Nisqy played aggressive, he roamed perfectly, he CS fine, he skirmished perfectly fine, he elevated all his lanes to play better by him doing well. he roamed up, got killed. I mean, you can't play anything better like that.
I'm
Even
gonna say-
Jensen deserved MVP was on Cloud9 all those many years ago.
I don't agree with that one at all.
High deserved it at one point. There's no way no one can tell me that High didn't.
High never
that's the
deserved
text- He's the textbook
You
definition of
can't
MVP.
you can't put in shot calling into an MVP thing because you can't see it. You can't hear
Just
it.
the way he played around the map.
It was knowledgeable, but you can't put like these intangible things that we can't see. You can't really put them into like what's it called, like into MVP categories because we don't actually know how much of an impact it made.
But for what's the name? Someday. See, the reason why people think that's crazy though. Someday is considered an MVP player outside of C9. He's the first person people think about because you can see in his gameplay that he is an MVP. That's what you can literally see in Niski. Put any new mid laner in Cloud9 and they probably maybe not win the split though.
I am gonna disagree with that completely. I think there's 2 replaceable players on Cloud9 right now. I think it is Blabber and Niski. I think they're the most important parts of Cloud9 are the bot lane and the top lane right now.
Even Sven, he was almost an MVP too.
I think Sven should have got it. I think Sven was the
Most
only
improved.
player the only player that was tiers above the rest of his lane opponents. Like
it was shown today.
place,
Remember, it was shown today.
I'm just saying, second place. The second place bot lane was the one was like if you put the second best players of the bot lanes, it's Ignar and I would say Johnson, and that's not even a close comparison. Like Vulcan and Sven just blow him out of the water, and I think Licorice was the single most impactful player. Like honestly, I don't know if Licorice deserves it because they put him in such a
weak side position.
But at the same time, if you had a different 80s top laner on that team, they would literally maybe not win the split at that point in time. I think they'd still probably get first place, but it would be they'd probably lose 3 to 4 more games. But I think with Niski, I think he plays really well. I think he is a really beneficial player because he can really supplement. Top lane is better. Someday is like 30 times better than Impact right now.
No, even when like Impact was considered a good player, people always thought Someday was better.
Yeah, Someday's just a better player in general. Yeah, Impact played really poorly this split too, which is the worst part.
But even when he was like that rock solid top laner, people thought that Someday was better.
Since Academy and always enjoyed the play style, seeing on the main stage and not in Academy is amazing. My big thing about it, Blabber, I think he's pretty solid. I just think that like there's nothing insanely unique about his play style. I think that. Again, if I'm going to say better junglers, I mean, just purely in the playoffs, I think the best junglers, that split were obviously... Blabber is definitely one of the top 2, but I think Dardoch probably played besides...
if Closer had a better team, he would look better. I know
Closer did not look that great. I think that he actually had a lot of games where I think that beyond like his supplementary playstyle, he did kind of struggle. I feel so bad for Someday. He's had so many carry games, not this year, but last year as well. You know what? The thing about
I really want to see him in a better team and improved 100 Thieves.
Yeah, I think. Well, I know. I mean, obviously, if you look at Worlds, when 100 Thieves went to Worlds that year, they put him on tank duty every single time, and I was yelling at everybody. I was like, "This doesn't make sense."
Too. I was like, Prawley is doing.
Prawley is the worst coach I've ever seen in my life. At post H2K, even in H, like he's so knowledgeable about the game, but when it comes to like actually, like he works in a way that he doesn't actually take into account his players. He takes into account what works. And, like, these comps work, but not with the players that you have. You don't have the ADC that needs to play this carry style of play. What's it called?
Good lord.
You need to stop. You obviously see how impactful top laner is in this meta, yet you keep putting your best player... Yeah, Flame actually got... He was on Damwon last year.
Yeah. And
he was getting depressed because he wasn't the starter, so they kicked him from the team.
And then he posted today he doesn't have any confidence on Twitter. Ooh, yeah. Good lord.
I feel bad for him. Like, he was a genuinely incredible player.
That's weird how he brought that up, because Flame literally tweeted that today, I have low confidence. I was like, oh, crap, no. Good lord. Come back to North America, Flame.
He really did well in North America. I'd be okay
He was
with
on FlyQuest. That's the worst place for him.
Yeah, I mean, he was on, what's it called?
He was on Immortals, too.
Yeah, Immortals. He looked fine on Immortals.
Lord. Flame could come over and be like at least a top 4 top laner.
I mean, I don't know what he looks like anymore. It's been a while since I've seen him play, so I can't say that. I think he'd do fine, though.
They should take him over Ruin if you're going to get a top laner Korean. If you're going to get any Korean top laner, why don't you just replace Ruin with Flame? But that's my own personal thing about it.
Yeah, he's ruined that team.
I think that just, if you look at it from Fly and EG's perspective, I think EG just, I don't know, it's hard to say. Do they choke?
Because he was still managed. Ornn, I remember him playing, what was it, Maokai or Nautilus, and he was straight up, it was a Fiora or something?
Who was it? Somebody would play Nautilus tank and carry.
No. It was either Maokai or Nautilus in the top lane against a bruiser, and he straight up like I don't know how like he was
We're talking about Flame, right?
We're talking about Someday. Someday straight up. What top was it? Was it Zion Spartan?
This is back when like Nautilus and Shen were the meta.
What happened to Crown? The reality is that Crown is one of the most mentally not unstable. I don't want to say unstable. I think he's the most mentally dependent players in the world in terms of into his environment and into his like the way he's around his team. I don't know how to say it. Like he's the most dependent in terms of like environmental things. Like if you get him into a point where you like kind of criticize him or any of that stuff, I don't think he's able to accept it very well. We've seen it in a lot of things. He really requires more so a friendlier environment to be able to thrive. He needs to be that person that everybody looks to be the carry, and it seems like CLG every time they get a player just turns them into trash. Like Ruin before he came over was pretty great. Like
he was looking good in 1907 Fenerbahce.
He looked really good in pretty much everywhere he went. Like looks like trash here.
If you guys remember a team called Giants in the LEC, he looked good on that. Like, ugh, good lord.
Like it's realistically, so I think that it all comes down to the coaching, not even the coaching style, but the what is it called? The
sports psychologist.
Well, they don't have a sports psychologist. Obviously,
that's probably where
they just don't have the leadership skills. Like there's not enough leadership skills in like to be able to understand what each player kind of needs.
Well, that's what happened. That's why they got Smoothie though. He was supposed to like be
Smoothie literally just I don't believe he's that type of person. I just think he's a shot caller. He's not a leader.
Oh, okay.
Completely different situations between those two. I think if we have to talk about leaders, I think like honestly like Sneaky was a leader in terms of what he did, and he kept the environment of Cloud9 going pretty positively even when he was playing poorly. Like the reality is, if you want a successful team, you need that type of person. Like the way FPX worked last year, literally every single one of the insults is like what's it called? It was I'd rather have to face 3 top laners than have 2 Gimgoons is what they said. Like they literally just flame each other, and like it shows how close they are as a team.
Oh, you're talking about like not just because you're talking about a lot of teams being like coworkers rather than actual like friends.
It's just league is such a mentally like it requires such a good mentality. You can't go like. Have you ever tried to play solo queue when you're tilted before the game starts?
No.
Like you can't do it at that point. I think league requires a massive amount of like good mental attitude in that stuff, like PMA, whatever they call it. I think that's something that I think people don't understand, like actually reflects into pro play. And I mean, obviously, a big like it seems like it's a big problem with most of this Cloud9, the CLG teams. It seems like one of the biggest problems with them. They always seem to have this problem. The FPX skin, I think the best one is the.
Honestly, I don't think they look that good.
Is it the top lane one?
Oh, it's Gangplank.
Gangplank's ult is incredible. It looks so good.
Cloud9 must have the best supportive and coaching staff in the league. The way they always end up with the best talent and seem to make players better instead of suppressing them like TSM does.
Well, let's just think about it. All of them are extremely friendly. They have the single best coaching staff in the league. Like even
one
probably
of the best Western coaches.
I'm just gonna say the best Western coaching staff in the league. I think honestly they just don't have the players G2 does, but they always pick better comps. They always pick to the play style of their players. Like they just know how to make a team work, and I don't think any other Western team knows how to do that. The problem is, like, and they again, all of their rookies, every single like, just look at contracts came in, looks incredible. Like it all comes down to making them feel welcomed, putting them on what they're comfortable with when they start out, and then working them into what more so is meta. And that's the only team that understands that is Cloud9.
Isn't it weird though? Svenskeren was looked at as a really good jungler last split, but now this split when he's on EG, he doesn't look that good.
It's what it is. Like he looked really good last split. I mean, like Blabber looked like complete trash. I mean, the previous season before
he went 0-4 last year.
I think as the secondary, like when he became the starter, when he became that main person on this team, he became the MVP. Like. My opinion is, I think that obviously it all comes down to showing how much of a requirement it is to have somebody who's able to take that leadership role and keep everybody. It's required in the coaching staff too.
Even Dardoch today, if you guys watch the TSM Legends thing, he even said they're not on the same page when they make plays. I mean, it goes to show him he's not lying. And you can even tell in their gameplay he's not lying.
My problem is, obviously, like, I think... I want to make a pretty wild assumption, but I think that, like, if we're just looking at players, if we put Darnock on, Cloud9 right now, where's Balls? I played against him in Valorant.
Really?
I did. He was on Valorant.
He's like, I can't be a competitive top laner anymore.
I played against him on Valorant, and he went, like... He was in second place right behind this stud right here.
Oh my god.
But I also played against Shifter, and he went like 70-0, so I didn't like
Shifter
that.
is just insane at video games, actually.
Yeah. I think like, again, it was the way it works is they have to use their league accounts, and his name was Balls, and I do believe that's still his.
Yeah.
I think he did have that one at one point, I believe, so.
Like, even looking at Balls, he was...
Balls was never, like, internationally impressive, but he was always able to handle domestic, like, quality players.
Like, where he would, like, solo kill Hooney and stuff like that.
Like, I think that right now, I don't know anything about him. I don't know what he's doing, but I know for a fact he's never going to be on the professional scene again. He doesn't have the qualities that are required. But I did like him as a player, and I thought he was really funny.
He's an old dude now.
He's probably younger than you.
Good lord. Lemonation retired. He's managing High's esport team. And High, yeah, after High got off of Golden Guardians, I don't think that he's going to be getting a team anytime soon anymore, but it happens.
I think that's too mentally.
Holy moly.
Oh, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun one right there. I mean, I can't do anything about it. But
good lord.
Let's like turn it away or something though. So hopefully that works. But
that's going to be so great on a VOD to play back to people's ears.
Okay, so what do you all think of the rumors? Best in order to get better. My big thing about it, obviously, again, I think if you're not learning from something, if they're not able to learn from their mistakes with Cloud9, they need to stop playing. Like they obviously don't, like, most of these teams don't have the ability to understand what they're doing wrong. Even if they play them constantly over and over again, all they're going to realize, and if you're not learning how to play better, but they're going to be, like, that team, Cloud9 is going to consistently learn about your playstyle is the problem. They're going to learn more from it than you're going to learn from them. So I think the reality is, I don't think it was the worst call. I think that they just need a better coaching staff so they could understand, like, how to make, like, how to improve on the mistakes they make in these scrims, because no one has the coaching staff to, like, what's it called?
Show these guys what they're doing wrong.
Like, so reality is you need to be able to make Cloud9 so unfamiliar with your playstyle. And on top of the fact, it's obviously, if they're getting mentally broken from it, then it's not worth the effort.
That's crazy, though. They're so good that even in scrims,
they're not so good. Everybody else is trash.
No,
I mean, I think Cloud9's good.
How demoralizing is that
for
certain people?
I think it's demoralizing to anybody.
I've never heard this. No, he might be right. I mean, I've never heard that for a North American team to be so good, people are scared to scrim them instead of getting demoralized.
I mean,
like, these are some...
It all comes down
to people, but I don't want to say that.
You are the weakest-minded person on the planet. I don't want to hear it.
What do you mean? It was kind of crazy, though.
Could still win Worlds. I think it's inevitable.
If he gets married, NA wins Worlds. If not, we're screwed.
Oh, you guys are... I'm sorry to hear that. I think the reality is that I think NA could... NA has a unique playstyle in which I think that they have the money to buy other good players. And that's the playstyle they have. What are you doing? Calm down. Everything freaks them out. Just chill out.
Good lord. You know what's great is that Sven played one Kalista game, went 9-0-9 on it. What's so wrong with people? That's horrible.
Who?
They can't even... He played one Kalista game this whole split, went 9-0-9.
Who did?
Sven.
I mean, Sven was the best Kalista in the world at one point, so it's not surprising.
That's weird, though. So was Bang. Huh.
Bang was never... I mean, Bang was probably better than him, yeah. But still, he was still one of the best Kalistas in the world, so it's not surprising that he's good at him now.
Good God.
He was by far the best one in the West.
Ugh, Lord.
I think the reality is, like, NA could win Worlds. They have the money to be able to buy the better players. I think they have
solo queue environments.
Like, I'm just saying, like, when the Unite, like, what's it called? When it becomes more popular in domestic culture, like in EU, it's a lot more like it's more acceptable than it is in NA and all these other, like, in Korea and all that stuff. Like, all the other regions have it pretty much built into everyday play, like, things. Like, NA, genuinely, you don't see it. Like, if you talk about I'm a pro, I'm a semi-pro at League in NA, you're gonna get laughed at.
Even if you even say you stream for money, people laugh at you.
Yeah, just like these things aren't as socially acceptable in the United States as it is everywhere else, and that's the reason NA just genuinely won't improve until they get past that.
Now, to be fair, you probably shouldn't care what somebody thinks, even though you are making a lot of money if you're doing it.
Why people care what other people think? Social things are a big thing to people. Like I don't understand. Like you can just say you shouldn't care, but that's just not something people can do.
Yeah, that's like that thing where it's like
maybe you can maybe some people can just not care, but you're not one of those people. I don't know why you're giving that advice. Oh. You definitely care what people think.
I like being the famous guy everybody looks at.
But yeah,
because even looking at the series, going over the series, FlyQuest literally tried throwing the kitchen sink at them.
My big thing about it is they tried to completely flip their playstyle. Like they were the aggressors this series, and Cloud9 just manhandled them because they just don't know how to do it. Like the dive onto Blitzcrank, what's it called? Was it Blitzcrank? Was it Aphelios?
Something like that, yeah.
Blitzcrank Aphelios as Callista Taric. Yeah, this is game 1. They dove them, and first of all, I think Zazel's trash. I think that's a big reason as to why it failed. But obviously, first of all, it was uncoordinated. They should have, once they got the kill on Aphelios, backed off. But instead of doing that, they forced the fight to extend so they could try and get a kill on Blitzcrank, which they did. But they ended up trading 2 instead of 0. They would have had no one die, and they would have got a kill if they had just backed off. But they agreed for that secondary thing. And reality is, when they traded 2 for 2 there, they also put all their priorities bot, so they were able to get a game top. It was uncoordinated. There was no thought process behind it. They should have, at the very least, if you're going to do that, send your top laner there. I mean, they could have done it without him, but if you're going to try and get both of them, you have to send that. How old is Reckless? Will Sneaky be back? Sneaky, do you think Sneaky will be back? I don't think he's going to... I think a team might take a chance on him this season. If they don't take a chance on him, he's not going to get a team. Because this is that point in time where you don't take a chance on proven talent that doesn't tend to be as good as the other.
Yeah, like Steve talked about it too. It's like, why are people always taking these old dudes?
Wait, he literally runs the oldest team in the NALCS, and he said that.
No.
He is the single
problem that people always do is that they always take in players who are known commodities about what you're going to get out of.
This man has the oldest team in the LCS by age, and he's trying to. Yes, he does.
He has star players in every position. That's different.
No, he doesn't because Impact is trash right now.
He's taught in general. He's talking about people like Apollo who keep getting teams, and they're like, what you're getting with him. People like Hakuho, you know what you're getting with Hakuho.
Hakuho's fine. I think Hakuho was fine to have on a star quality team. I think he's a good supplementary support. I think he's good at engaged supports and all that stuff. My problem is he's never been on a good team with a good ADC or anything.
And he chooses to play with Apollo, so
He's usually with what's his name now?
No, he's with Apollo.
No, he's usually with Altec.
No, but remember they
Yeah, he was with Altec for a little bit.
Yeah,
he's usually with Apollo.
Lord, yeah.
I'm saying for the most part, I don't think. I want to know how they told Sven to do what he's on TSN compared to Cloud9. Well, I mean, the thing...
Holy shit, there's a big difference.
My big thing about it is, obviously, first off, ADC is the single most dependent role out of every role in the game. If you actually, if you're a gold smurf and you're trying to get out of bronze, you're not going to have as high a win rate as if you were playing ADC as if you were playing mid, because ADC requires that secondary person in the role. So, when he was laning with Smoothie and Smoothie was trash, he couldn't win lanes. Not only that, it's the single most dependent on other people to keep you alive while you're team fighting. So if you don't have a good front line, you lose the fights because you can't do anything yourself. You can't win fights on your own as an ADC. You're just, when you have a good team around you, you can pop off harder than anybody else on the team. But you yourself can't do much as a player. I think the big thing about it is right now he just has a better team, and that's what it is. He was not playing... there was a lot of mistakes where he'd make, and they just never called him out on it. The Ezreal ease into, the river when he was on TSM. Stupidest thing ever. He didn't have the...
Same coordination.
No, he didn't have that player on that team. But Bjergsen was playing well and Broken, but for the most part, he didn't have that guaranteed, if we can make it to this point in time, we can win the game. So he always felt like taking the chance himself. I think that's something that, obviously, Reaper is not going to let anybody do on his team. I think it all comes down to somebody taking control of the team. There's no adults on TSM. That's what it is. Like they consistently maneuver themselves around Bjergsen's playstyle. And Bjergsen is a great player. He's probably mechanically one of the best mid laners, and he really does make good plays around the map. But the reality is that when it comes to post-laning phase into mid to late game, he plays poorly. His early game is incredible, though.
Well, the same thing goes with impactful mids, is that he doesn't have a team around him who's also doing consistently as good as he is.
I think the big problem is that he is, even if no one's doing as good as he is, like he was one of the best players in that entire FlyQuest versus TSM series. But if no one's around him that's good,
who's also performing as well.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if he seems to be the overlying thing that everything that goes wrong with TSM always has something to do with it. I think it's a problem with him.
Or people in the last stream, they said replace him. I mean,
replacing him is stupid in my, because who are you gonna replace Bjergsen with? I think that
I would say if you find the guy to replace him, then do it.
I just think that I would never replace Bjergsen unless I found somebody who's a star. Like if you can get Cats, maybe.
Player.
I think if Doublelift leaves Team Liquid, most of the Team Liquid fans will leave too. Well, they didn't exist before, so I'd assume so. Yeah, there was no Team Liquid fans before all these teams.
No, I mean there was fans. They used to have.
It was just me. I was the only fan because Piglet was on there.
And he was a fan because of I Will Dominate, Sexy Face.
I loved I Will Dominate too, yeah. I really like that team, but I think
like the thing. Well, I mean, to be fair, that whole fan thing he mentioned there is a two-way street. Like if you invest your money and time into a team, some people who are fans of those teams when those stars player come over, they just stay.
If
like
we're gonna
the TSM fans that went over when Doublelift came over and they had the star team, some of them just stayed. They don't have to,
Well, that's just a normal thing.
You can still support Doublelift on TL. But
that's just a normal thing for teams in general of everything. Yeah. I think that, I think Team Liquid always, every time a star player leaves, every single team when a star player leaves loses fans. That's just a reality.
But I think it's not as big as most people make it out to be.
It's going to be pretty large.
Like usually, the thing with a lot of that comes into like Cloud9. People said they're going to lose a lot of fans with Sneaky. But that they won, they're going to gain a lot of fans anyway.
My big thing about it, first of all, is there's not a designated region that has all the there's no New York Cloud9 or anything, so you don't have a stranglehold on any of the teams.
Yeah.
The big thing about it is there's nothing that separates any of the teams from each other other than the name and players. That's the only thing. So that's all you have to commit yourself to. Like, there's no reason to be a Cloud9 fan because you can watch them all at the same time. You just, like, I always cheer. Like, if they started swapping to like, cities and they made it Los Angeles something, I'd swap to that team.
Oh yeah, like you're more of a home team.
I only cheer for teams that have something
like a dedicated stadium.
Yeah, it's not just stadium, just like a dedicated. This is my region's team, and this represents us.
That's not going to really work with League though.
That's just because there's not a big enough revenue. That's all it is. There's not a revenue. If it becomes bigger,
it's an Overwatch. Will they have big stadiums like that?
What's up?
Overwatch has those things where it's like giant stadiums like that.
China has that. China has it because they have...
That's way different, though.
Well, no, it's not different. That's just... The difference is that's why it can't happen in A, because there's not as many viewers, there's not as many all these things. Like, no one's going to go to FlyQuest Stadium to watch them play... No one's going to go to their stadium to watch them play CLG. Like, it's not going to happen. It would be completely empty.
Even if you went to Madison Square Garden, they wouldn't go.
Like, it's just... You can't get... Like, if it became more grounded in the United States, I think it would work. But it's not gonna.
So weird how it works it doesn't really work in Overwatch.
Yeah, like Overwatch, they failed, and that's why their esports imploded.
That's a different story, but
I think the big thing, obviously, is G2 is godly. I agree.
That's what happens. Fill a stadium then? LGD is garbage.
LGD is one of the oldest organizations in China, and they have one of the most successful histories out of them.
It's good lord, man.
I think G2 is one of the best teams in the world because they always push their limits with champion. They don't do anything besides let's be realistic.
Sometimes this is seen as trolling, but I think that they learn from every game.
You want my honest opinion? I think the reason G2 is so good, the thing that sets them out uniquely is the fact that they looked at the EU, the roster of every EU team, and said we're going to pick the best player on every single team. We're going to pick the best player of every single position, and we're going to put them on one team. Literally, when G2 was created, these players were all the best of the positions in all of EU. And
also, the best thing is that they work together perfectly.
You know how the Dream Team existed in basketball, and that was like one of the best teams of all time, and it was
Kobe
like
Bryant,
so
Steve Nash.
No. That was the other team. I'm talking about Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, all those players put together onto one team. Larry Bird, is all these players put on the same team, and like the reason they were so good and why it was so fun to watch is because you pick the best players of all time, and we got to see them play together once. Like no one liked the Warriors when they were put together because it took away all the competitiveness of the league. You just got to see the best players play together, and then no one else could compete with them because no one else, like the league was so combined into one team. And like that's not even the best players of these positions. That's just two of the best players.
Two of the best players
onto one team.
Destroyed the whole league.
Well, yeah, but you don't like the reason I don't like G2 is because it completely unbalances the region. Like EU as a whole, Fnatic is not going to win Worlds, and it's just without a doubt it's not going to happen.
But they did in season 1.
I don't care about that. Best mid laner in LPL. That's always the best mid in general, or just mid?
LPL, dude. I'm gonna have to look them up again because I forgot. Honestly,
I don't know all of their names, but again, I always rank.
You know what I started watching yesterday?
I think my biggest problem is right now. I think that there's inconsistencies with a lot of the players. I think Xiaohu, I always put in the top 5 because of the fact that mechanically he's not the best, but I think that he always has an impact in the later on team fights. But Knight is not, in my opinion, Knight is not as good as last year. I think he's definitely stepped down for the most part. It's just...
It's so hard to really judge.
I don't watch the lower tier teams, I'll be honest.
I have no life, so like, you guys know I do.
You don't.
I think Fofo is not bad. I think again... Xiaopeng is garbage.
If I have to rank the best players, let's just... I think we should focus on the best teams.
Yeah, because like there's too many.
There's like a million.
I can name you the garbage ones.
No, you don't need to.
Oh, Victory 5's mid laner. Like, is that even debatable?
Which teams are performing well? I mean, obviously Invictus Gaming is still the best. I think my big team to watch out for right now is Top Esports. I think they just replaced their ADC with, in my opinion, one of the better. Like again, they just got what's his name? Jackie Love, and that's going to be a big. Like I honestly think they might be. Rank from best to worst, I'm not about to do that. I don't watch the lower like again, I can tell you the top like 5, but I don't watch the worst teams in the league.
I think my favorite mid laner to watch, I mean,
are you about to do
kind of
this?
Cliche. It's gonna be Doinby still. I think Doinby and Rookie are the best, personally.
I
just had to pick 2.
Are you really about to put like my big thing about like obviously I think
I'm not gonna rank them up, but that's just I think Doinby and Rookie are playing the best. Personally,
I don't think they're playing the best. I think that one is a little bit of a stretch.
Xiaohu is interesting.
Well, no. What? Why do you always have to trash talk Xiaohu like he's playing terrible?
He's not playing good this play.
He's playing fine. I mean, he's not the best mid laner in the league,
he's playing pole belter.
He's not playing pole belter level. That's stupid. Pole belter is first of all playing by the end of the split one of the best mid laners in the league. So I don't even understand. Again, your analogy with pole belter is always the same thing, but he's not the most inconsistent player. He's like consistently bad. Like, that's not Xiaohu.
Flandre's good.
Flandre is incredible, and I hate when you say that. But I've been watching Snake Esports for like 5 seasons, hoping to watch him and SOFM pop off, and every season they put 3 of the worst players in the league on the same team as them. So like, it's
you think China doesn't have bad players? No, if you saw them on that roster,
my
god,
they're mechanically good, but they don't have any shot calling. They don't have any what's it called. My big thing, obviously, I think if I had like, what is it called? If I had to rank the top 5, because I don't know all the worst ones. Again, I don't watch what's it called? I think Vici Gaming's been playing a little bit better, so I did start watching them. I can rank him. But for the most part, I don't watch like Victory 5 and stuff. I don't watch the lower tier teams. I think
watching Victory 5 is like watching.
It's not that bad. I mean, again, they still have interesting stuff.
Who's worse?
Obliterates picked it up because he was motivated after not having a team. He doesn't have a team every offseason. Every offseason he doesn't have a team, so that's the like. It's not something I would say.
No,
like,
it's just this one, remember?
No, he does it every single season. He's like kicked off the team and then has to get a new team every single season.
Oh yeah.
Every single season he gets kicked off the team he was on.
I think
so
it's
obviously
only showed that because he knows next year he might have a team if he doesn't play good.
I don't want to hear that. I think that Pole Belter plays consistently well at the beginning because he makes bad teams good but doesn't make good teams great. That's what it is. He's not an all-star caliber player, but he is somebody who brings coordination to an uncoordinated team. That's all he does.
He's like that one black guy from the Warriors that I can't remember.
T1 closer? T1 closer would be trash.
What, Damon, what are you talking about?
Are you talking about closer from NA right now? I don't think he'd be good.
I don't think he'd be...
I'm just like Closer is a good player himself. I think Closer is pretty solid. I don't think he would work out because first of all, it's a high mechanical like product. Like Korea has the highest skill base in terms of their players, and I don't think his skill in terms of just himself translates.
He might make a lower tier team better. If I'm being honest, maybe. And that's maybe. But I can answer your question this way: which team would Closer make better in here in the LCS?
Well, no. Let's if we talk about teams that he would make better in the NA in Korea, I don't know. Like he'd be good inside of like
Closer, he would be running it down 0-10 every game, maybe.
No, he wouldn't be that bad. I mean, let's not exaggerate.
I mean, there's a player like Bono in the LCK. Like that's just
Bono,
who's a KG Roasters jungler.
My thing about it is, first of all, I want to point out that it is a highly coordinated. Well, I'm not highly coordinated. A highly communicative region, and he doesn't speak Korean, so it wouldn't work out because he can't talk to them. Like, I think that's a requirement that he speaks English, but he can't speak Korean, so he can't talk to them. And the most impactful early game role, not being able to talk to a... Oh, I have not watched... Oh, okay, sorry. That is what you said T1 100%. I thought you were saying, what if they brought T1
my bad, dude.
What do you... Okay, so if you're asking me about the Academy region, I don't watch Korean Academy. I didn't even know... Korea doesn't have an academy yet, do they? I thought they have a
challenger.
They have a lower tier team. I don't think it's called. Is it called that? Regardless, I don't watch the lower tier teams either. I don't watch the academy regions because I don't know how to see games. If you could link me to an actual what's it called? If you could link me to ability to watch them, I'd like that because I only know how to watch the major regions. And I don't even know how to watch Japan. I've tried to watch Japan. There has to be English broadcasts, and I don't know how to find them.
You can watch the LMS now in English broadcast.
I don't like the LMS. Actually, you know what? I have watched a few of their games, but I don't like any of the teams right now. They all look like a massive amount of TSMs. So,
guys. Little secret. I did watch the PCS, which is literally the LMS but franchised. They all suck.
If you want my honest, what is Team Liquid gonna do next split? I mean, they're talking about replacing
Doublelift.
They're talking about replacing Doublelift, and they have no one to replace him with. And I've made suggestions that have been completely rebutted by all you people, so I'm not gonna make them again.
This man said bring in Piglet.
I said you have a Korean
challenger.
You have a Korean a Korean support that likes Piglet. You have his best friend in the top lane. I'm just saying, I don't think you should replace like Doublelift at all. I think he should stay on the team. But if you're going to replace him, who else are you gonna find that's gonna? Because they're trying to compete for Worlds. They're not trying to build up homegrown roster. They want to make Worlds this season with the roster they have. They have spent too much on it. It's about 10 million altogether, close to what they've spent on the roster. They can't afford to not compete for Worlds.
If I go at it from the TL angle. See, this is the thing that no one really understands, that we don't even know if he's trying to make other roster moves. Impact didn't play good. Who's to assume that he's not getting replaced? Because people are saying, how could you place Doublelift on certain teams when you have import slots taken up? Doesn't mean that other people aren't getting replaced, though. Because people don't understand that. Is that it's not a set thing, you know?
When you met 5 T1 players in solo queue? See, I really wish... I've never heard. I mean, I've heard about some of their players. I didn't even know there was a Closure on their team too, so I had no idea.
Imagine he's like the next freaking.
He could be great. Tarzan. I mean, the realistic thing is that LCK, they already have a solid jungler. I don't think the jungling is a problem.
Kana and Kuz.
Kana is the top laner.
Alorum, right? Elorum.
I don't know what their backup is pretty. The backup
guy that they use. He's actually pretty decent.
They haven't really played him yet. His name is Elim.
He's pretty fine.
Have they even played him?
He's played a few games here and there because Cuz was sick.
What games were those? I don't remember that. Piglet might fit in well, but I think it's kind of risky. I don't think they'll take the. If they keep Doublelift, it's the best choice. If they don't keep Doublelift, I can't think they're not going. They spent too much money, so they need to compete for an NALCS championship. And honestly, I don't know who else they like. I can't think of another ADC.
Go with another SKT ADC. Go with Bang.
Bang is playing like trash right now. Bang played really well in the first EDG. Evil Genius series.
SKT former world champions on their team.
Like Bang played really well against against Evil Geniuses. He played complete
Why,
trash.
Yeah, on team.
I mean, against FlyQuest the first time. He played like complete trash the second time. He played.
Against C9, yeah, they lost pretty bad.
No, I will not. He played. I don't count that game. I don't count anybody against Cloud9. Everybody looks trash against them right now.
He looked really off in that last series.
He looked really bad in the series. Like again, a lot of the fights he overextended when they were trying. When he was what's his name? What is the support's name? For Evil Geniuses. I'm trying to remember. Zazel. When Zazel... Oh, God. How did I forget him? When Zazel was in their tri-bush on the enemy side trying to, like, make an engage or pick cap, and he consistently... Like, he was overextending, letting him fight that so he could hit him over the wall, and then ulted him across instead of doing it immediately because he thought they could win the fight. But they were getting rotated in vision, and they had less members than the enemy team. I didn't understand that. It didn't make any sense to me.
Maybe that was a call.
It wasn't a good call because if it was a call, then that was a micro decision on the point, and he chose not to do that. Johnson was the second best ADC in the split. And it's
not like, oh my God, Johnson was so good.
He was so good. I think he was so good. But the thing about it is, the problem is that Sven was so much better.
Yeah.
Like I think this is probably the best rookie season I've seen out of an ADC. I think in terms of NALCS.
He pretty much had like a licorice level split in his first
he was extremely good. I think that it's one of the best homegrown developed talents we've had in a really long time. Like Licorice is the next best. I mean, obviously the best.
Yeah.
Recently, but
I thought he did just fine personally.
I mean, great. It really makes you understand that we could make a solid team out of just straight up NALCS players and have a good team. Like we could make Dardoch, Licorice in top lane. We could put Demonte in mid or Pole Belter or whatever. Johnson in support. I mean ADC, and then we have a massive amount of NALCS support.
Maybe you could throw in Pakuo,
Zazel. You could genuinely make a solid team out of NA players, but
they
choose not to.
A lot of owners don't believe that. Like even Steve said, good luck winning LCS with 5 LCS players.
You could. I just named off 5 that could win the LCS. Will
these players win you a title?
I think they could.
That's how they're looking at it.
I think they could genuinely win you a title. Yes.
Dardoch, Zazel, Demonte.
I didn't say Zazel.
What'd you say?
I did not say Zazel. Who in the world chose Zazel out of the NA supports you could have? Right. Thanks for the stream. Over here saying Zazel's. Oh yeah, you gotta pick Zazel. There's 70 of them. Zazel's worse than Hakuo, yes. Zazel is worse than Afromu. Zazel is worse than Smooth. Okay, no, I don't know about that part.
Let's throw Vulcan and Johnson.
Why did we not say Vulcan off the bat? Vulcan is literally the best support in NA right now.
That's how owners see it. Is that they want to see these players as, can this player win me a title? Can Demonte win you a trophy?
Not by himself, but with a team of what's it called? Vulcan,
Licorice and Dardoch,
Licorice, all these players, you could make a team work. Zazel is trash. I don't know why you said his name, and it frustrates me.
This guy hates Zazel. Ever since he left Cloud9, I hate Zazel.
Zazel was not good.
Good lord. Every time I talk to him, no one. Zazel's trash, man. You see how he
plays you don't get to do that little meme thing in real life because it doesn't translate well.
And this is what I thought of today, is that Piglet's best thing after he exit the scene is that he'll be known as a guy that discovered Vulcan in solo queue.
He's gonna be known as the best player that's ever existed on the planet, and the reason that Faker was able to win his first title.
Zazel will be known as the best playmaking support in NA history.
No,
clutch it out in Game 5.
But again, I don't Did we talk about the series as that much?
Oh, the series! Holy crap, we have series here. Holy moly, I forgot.
My thing, first of all, I think
C9 versus FlyQuest. I mean, outside of maybe Game 3 or 4. Ugh. I mean, it's hard to say. Were Cloud9 dumbing down themselves to play up to their level?
Did you say Game 4 of the FlyQuest that went 3-0?
I said were C9 dumbing themselves down to make it more even for FlyQuest?
How in the world? No, first of all, they didn't make it easy for anybody. They literally just went and completely stomped them.
Except maybe this game or the third game.
I think the first game and the third game was pretty up there. I think Wadid is completely
he's going to Griffin to save them from relegation.
He's the coach. Is he not going as a coach?
He's going as a player.
That's terrible. No, he's gonna trash them.
You want him over that trash support they have now?
Yes.
This guy's trolling.
I would rather
that guy's bad.
I don't care. Wadid was never good.
You need a veteran player.
No, you don't.
Just to get them out of relegations. Next place.
Yeah, if you get choked, if he can go to Korea and keep them out of relegations, I would be genuinely impressed.
But you don't need him after that. Just get out of relegations.
Why? How is he going to get them out of relegations? He's not good.
You just need to be a veteran.
That's not true. If that's the case, then what's it called? Team Coast would have never got relegated because they had only veterans.
Yeah, Jezus, ManCloud.
They had some veterans on it. ManCloud is the single most veteran player that's ever existed. He's been in NALCS since before you were born.
No, but it's just that Wadid can offer a few things. He
Wadid
can offer a real solid time.
He is extremely knowledgeable about the game, but when it comes to the game itself, inside of the game, he's trash.
Mechanically, he's so bad.
He's mechanically bad, and I think he makes solid play. I mean, like solid understanding for the most part, but he just doesn't understand the game enough. You don't have like.
Oh no! I'll do it later.
No,
there's a dog.
There is a dog over there. I don't think Wadid understands the game. I mean, he understands the game enough, but he doesn't play the game well enough anymore. I think his mechanics have not kept up with his mind.
Good lord, it's been crazy.
Has it been crazy?
Oh, man, I'm so old. You know, it's just that. What else can you really do? Like, you're about to be in relegation. Well, you're in relegations, fighting the promotion tournament, and your support's running it down.
So you're gonna choose Wadid over?
Who else are you gonna get?
I mean, his support's their support's not terrible.
I mean,
he's pretty bad, yeah. I don't know if Wadid is the choice though.
You just need him for that one series and get yourself out of relegations, and you can kick him once the split starts again.
Should Griffin replace Sword for Huni? What?
They should replace Sword for anybody.
Huni is not better than Sword right now. No.
It doesn't matter who you place your Sword with.
Sword. Okay, I think that there's been a little mindset kind of swap ever since Worlds with Sword.
Ever since
I think Sword played really well against G2 and all that stuff when he completely. I mean, played well against what is the other EU team?
Oh, G2.
That they played in. Oh yeah, G2. They played really My big thing about it, obviously, is I don't think Sword played poorly in the group stage. I don't think he was that bad inside of the group stage itself.
I think people just made this narrative up that he's garbage.
No, it's just
shy.
He played. I mean, first of all, I think he's not able to play carries as well as most people can. I think his big thing is that he wasn't able to transition into secondary type of play style because he just doesn't have the ability to play. They weren't able to change up in terms of the what's it called?
Their coaching staff?
No. They weren't able to change up the comps inside of the drafting phase because he's not able to play a secondary style.
Oh, so they were kind of flexible.
Well, they did actually attempt to put him on carries, but he was completely terrible on those. I think that Sword is just not good enough, on the international stage, but he's completely fine inside of Korea itself. If you're gonna replace him with anything, Huni is not the person. Huni's been one of the worst top laners in the league this entire split.
He's every single split. He's just randomly been bad. For this last split, last spring split was bad. Good lord. And he might be mad that Dignitas want to kick him, but what do you want them to do?
I mean, the reason Dignitas want to kick him, they didn't want to kick him before he started playing, so I mean, it's obviously on him. They didn't get mad because he didn't start sucking because he was mad. He's mad because he started sucking. That's just what it is.
Or maybe it's team coordination because top lane also requires a lot of coordination too. And then you have who's your support? Freaking Aframu. He's roasted at this point. I think his career is over after he's off of Dignitas. I think he's done. Who's gonna take Aframu after this year? And if Dignitas want to make moves, it's who do you take? Because he's gonna be, I think in my own personal opinion, he's gonna be looked at as a Darshan for support eventually. Aframu.
I mean, he's been.
Years, then,
I mean, it's not 1 or 2 more years. He's been pretty mediocre for recently.
I think after this year specifically, or maybe next year, if he's lucky, he gets a team next year. After this split, maybe I think he's done. Who's gonna take him? Who would even take him?
I mean, there's no reason not to take him because he is a pretty veteran, shot calling player. I don't think he's good, but I mean, again, there's teams that are going to be in lower relegations that are going to take him for the next 2 to 3 years. I don't think he's been
literally stuck academy for the rest of his career.
All I'm saying, no, he won't. All I'm saying is I don't think that he's been for the past 2 to 3 seasons. I don't think he's been good. I think post his MVP season in 2018.
That was the last.
I think that was the last good Aframu we actually saw. I think ever since then he's been somebody I wouldn't want on my team.
Huni used to be good, right? Fnatic Huni.
Huni was incredible on that. He was really good on SKT for both the spring split and at Worlds. He was good on Immortals. He's been really good for a lot. He was good last season during the summer split. He's just not good now. And he was really bad in the spring splitted last year. Mm-hmm. He's just been so inconsistent that is it worth taking the chance on him. Like I don't think it is. I think that maybe he works, like, again, if we're going to say that he works anywhere, I think he'd work better in the LPL than anything, because they don't require, there's no macro sense there.
They just require
like
mechanical outplays.
It's just, and that's just something he's not good at anymore, so I don't think he'd do good at there either, but
yeah,
at the very least, like, there would be so much mechanical, like, things going on that he wouldn't be, like, his inability to win, like, what's it called? His bad decision-making would not stand out too much over there. But I think my big problem with Huni, obviously, is he's not really too impressive right now. Like, he's just not able to compete mechanically, and he's always been pretty mediocre in terms of decision-making. He's relied most, if we look at the outplayed Fnatic vs SKT, he just genuinely overstayed in the top lane, but mechanically was able to, what's it called? He was mechanically able to outplay his lane opponent, so he was able to, what is it called? I'm getting distracted. Let's turn this game off so I stop getting distracted, please. I don't know why it's on.
If I get distracted at everything.
I do. But I think the thing about it is he was mechanically outplayed. I mean, he's outplaying his lane opponents and all that stuff. He's able to outplay enemy teams because of his like mechanics back then, but I think it's not kept up with him recently. And I think that's a problem with, like, he's not able to win lanes, he's not able to team fight better than anybody. Like, he just genuinely has some pop-off moments, but that's pretty much all he has now.
Like, he's not even in consideration for at least top 6 top laners.
Well, no, he was genuinely probably bottom 3 for top laners this split. That's just what it was.
And I mean, remember, you're paying $2.3 million for bottom top laners.
No one cares about money. Money is obviously not something they care about right now. It's all about names. It's all name brand people. What is this man doing?
his dog usually goes nuts.
Alright,
Oh, freaking A, what did I say? On the topic of... This is good TV.
Good TV, yes.
Good lord. Oh, okay, what was I going to say? Freaking A.
Can retired players come back? There's no rule against it, but there's not many people who would like... what's it called? High retired for a little bit. There's been a lot of players who actually came out of retirement to play.
Yeah.
But is there a reason to take a chance on a lot of them? I don't think so. I think a lot of players don't look that great, like, after retirement, and I think that's a reason why many people don't do it. But it's not against the rules at all. There's no clause that says you can't. It's not
also, when you get older, you're also worse mechanically than the new players are.
See, my thing about it is, I think a lot of people go through their prime from 25 to like 30, and that's something that I think, like, it doesn't seem to translate well into League. So I don't understand why that is. I don't really understand what a prime is for mental kind of stuff.
Well, because people assume you're always in peak form. Like, no, you peak for certain tournaments, but you never always play in peak form.
Well, I'm just saying, like, people in League, like, you're 25 year old, but in the what's it called? In the, like, if you're in the NBA, that's a young person right there.
40 and still
I'm just saying, like, under 25 is 25 and under is what's considered a young person in the NBA. Like, but in NA LCS, like, once you're 25, they consider, like, that's when people consider retiring.
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of that goes into it. You know,
well, it's not just.
And then...
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, it seems like mechanics don't tend to keep up the later on in life you go. Like, not about that. It doesn't translate as well into later on in life as physical attributes do. So I don't understand that. It's probably something that, like, some sort of...
What's that word? Hand-eye coordination?
No, it's some sort of like scientific thing that I don't understand. I don't get that stuff.
Oh my god. But even okay, so LCS spring split is over. So I guess we can just wrap up our thoughts on that. The split stunk.
Well, it was not very fun. I mean, again, I think Cloud9 looked okay, but they don't look as impressive as they should, to the point where I think they should lose only one game. I don't think this is the most impressive team we've ever had in NA.
I'd say if you want to say most dominant, then yeah.
Dominant is just something you give to win rates. I don't like that word. I don't like that word because it only comes, like, the word dominant just comes down to stats. I don't think they were the best team. I don't think they were the best team that NA has ever produced. They're not better than 2017 to, like, 2018, or not 18, 2000 post Dyrus TSM. Do you think Riot should create a simple champion like Garen instead of champions like Aphelios? I mean, Aphelios is easier than people thought from when he was released. I think that the big thing about it is how poorly his ult translates. You can't tell what he's ulting with. Like, the secondary is The secondary is possible to be able to see if you're clicking on him because it shows underneath him, but for the most part, it's hard to see what he's ulting you with. I think that's something I'd like to see more clarity on. But for the most part, I don't like simple champions like that because if they're simple, that means they're old. Their abilities have to be overtuned to make them be able to work. Like there's like if you make Garen work, like he's either completely terrible or he's an unstoppable dude running at you because with the ability to silence an instant one shot. Like it all comes down to when they're simple and they have a simple kit like that, they require overtuned stats. That's why I don't like that. It doesn't translate well into pro scenes. It doesn't translate well into solo queue. Like it's just something I don't like it too much. But I mean it has worked before. Mm-hmm. Like I think that Warwick's not bad, and I think Poppy is pretty okay too. If we're talking about just simple kits, but for the most part, I don't like that. Like the thought process, they're not fun to play either. Like simple champions are just not fun to play.
I like certain simple champions.
Like which one? Which one is fun?
Warwick is simple.
Warwick is not fun.
I love Warwick. He's fun to me.
Garen
is legitimately unfun to play.
Garen, Annie, all those characters just don't.
Jason loves Annie though.
Well, Jason likes Annie because Jason also likes Morgana. He just doesn't like fun champions.
I like Rise. People say he's not fun. I love Rise. I love playing Rise. Who was like easy? Is Set considered easy?
Set is not hard, but he's not easy. He's not easy like them because he has moderately wonky skill shots and his E is extremely unique. That requires 2 different ways to stun from. Like I don't think he's easy. I just don't think he's that hard.
Like the easiest champions I can think of that are super brain dead. Maybe Xayah is to a certain extent that way.
No,
ADC requirements.
ADCs in general are just not easy. Just because it's just a
point and click.
No, it's high. It's not pointing. It all requires positioning. On top of the fact that kiting is something a lot of people can't do when they first come play the game.
This is the thing though. I was thinking about this right now today. Was FlyQuest is gonna go through that same sneaky thing eventually because you clearly see today. That's why I even said it earlier in my prediction video that the bot lane difference in C9 versus FlyQuest is the reason why they're gonna lose. The bot lane difference between Wild Turtle and Sven is too big.
Which champion do you think should get a new rework? I think that if we're gonna have to pick a rework, I don't know. I mean, Annie is kind of weird, but I think that she worked. You kind of
getting a rework.
Wukong already got one.
Fiddlesticks got one. Yeah.
Fiddlesticks got one. I think that. I think there should be simple champions in the game. I think simple champions make it easier for people who are just starting out to be able to get into the game to like at the very least a base level. Like champions that need a rework. I can't think of one. Maybe Kalista. Kalista, like she's so dominant in terms of just kit that you have to like she has 90% AD scaling onto her auto attacks. Her slows reduce her jumps like distance, so she can't kite. Like other ADCs at the very least still have, like it reduces jump distance and like attack speed and all that stuff just from getting slowed by like an Ashe Q, like an Ashe W, whatever. Like for the most part, I think that if we're gonna do that, I think it's champions that have such a dominant kit that they had to be completely gutted in terms of stats. So Kalista, I think that.
Ooh, yeah. Darius has happened a lot of times.
Well, Darius is fine. I think Darius is fine in terms of just his kit.
Renekton always gets toyed around with.
No, Renekton definitely should not get changed. Renekton is one of the key top lane champions for most top laners. I honestly think there's not too many I would be super upset with if they weren't released. Changed a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think that the reason Udyr is definitely one. Udyr is unique and a lot of there's a gigantic player base for him and like he's such a staple to like a lot of people's things, but Udyr is terrible. Udyr can never translate into a high.
The only person that ever tried to make Udyr work in pro play was Smithy. He pulled it out a few times.
It was like when the AP scaling on his was overtuned, so they had to. Udyr would be fun. Like Udyr should be reworked because he's such an old champion. His kit is just outdated. It is definitely outdated, but at the same time, I don't think they're probably ever going to because I think that he's like there's still I don't even see him played anymore, so I can't say that. I don't know. He has the lowest win rate for any champion in the game. That's not true. He definitely doesn't have the lowest. Like they usually, the lowest one that I know of was Akali recently. Akali went down there super far, even though I think she's still pretty. She was broken for a very long time. She was broken for a long time. She didn't deserve to be high. I think Kalista was low in solo queue for a super long time too.
Aurelia got knocked down once they removed that attack.
Aurelia's
speed
never
thing.
going to be... They're never going to nerf her enough. Like, they just consistently leave her at a pretty solid level. Which is... I'm not against it. She's not overbearing. She's just not fun to play with when she's broken. I'm strong.
Good lord. I wonder what else is there to actually... there's Fnatic. I mean, to be fair, Fnatic can beat teams that are worse than them, but when it comes to better teams, they just fumble. Like... I don't know. Is it a
Fnatic is not going
to...
All I'm saying is Fnatic is never going to translate onto the international scene as well as everybody wants them to, because they're not the best in their region, first off, so they'll never beat G2 in an international tournament, and they're just... They don't have, like, a unique play style that keeps them from losing to teams with better players than them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just don't... They don't have the players to beat FPX. Like, FPX doesn't genuinely even have better players than them, really. Like, realistically, I think the player, skill-wise, are almost on tier with each other for the most part in FPX versus Fnatic, but Fnatic is so much worse at playing around objectives and map control that they would lose to them probably 2-1. I'm 3-1 to 2-1. I'm 3-1 to 3-0. I don't know. I started doing the wrong math.
That's weird,
stuff.
though, because Fnatic and FPX played last year. We saw that.
That's great. All
So
I'm saying.
anything's changed now that they have Selvin over Broxa?
I think that they got a higher tempo early game, but I mean, Broxa was able to translate that with Lee Sin, and they didn't really ban it. So obviously, that's not the problem with them.
I don't think mid-is a problem.
I mean, I think reality is that
they just need different players now.
It's not just they either need to their drafting phase does kind of like just look at the drafting phase between them and G2 today. Like they genuinely they first of all they picked no CC reliable CC against a Zac because Trundle Pillar can interrupt Zac, but it's only if out of Fog of War it's extremely hard to land it, and like they picked they picked no reliable CC into Zac, and then what's it called? And then they picked the Zac onto Fnatic G2 the next game, but G2 was able they picked it too early, so G2 was able to pick Janna into it, which is straight up like the easiest champion in the game. She has they picked 4 different ways to interrupt Zac E, which made him completely worthless. He was never able to get in the back line. I don't know. I'm gonna say it's not being held anywhere because there's the coronavirus, so I don't know what's gonna go on.
I thought of a way that they could do it.
It's just
you put them all in one server, because you know how they did servers for scrims.
You can't
create a server just for the MSI teams.
Ping will always not translate well, even if you make one server. MSI is probably Oh, there's the other Damien. I told you there's 2 of them.
I know.
There's 7 of them, dude. There was last time we streamed, everybody was named Damien.
MSI is canceled. Oof. I mean, they might end up canceling Worlds too. It's a sad reality that Cloud9 had one shot to win Worlds this year.
They're not canceling Worlds. They'll do it online if they have to.
I swear they'll cancel Worlds.
They won't cancel Worlds.
Every big event's gotten canceled.
They're not canceling Worlds. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Every single esports has their big championship canceled.
None of them are big.
Rocket League?
Rocket League did not get their big thing canceled.
Yeah, they did.
They did not.
Well, championship for them got canceled too. Like every big.
No, I was watching it. No, it didn't. I don't think they got No.
How are you watching Rocket League?
They literally streamed off of the Rocket League account, and I watched it. I don't think their big thing. First of all, they can do it online. Second of all, they can do it they have group houses. They can do it in the same region and out of what's it called?
They could make specific servers for it.
I'm just saying they're not going to cancel Worlds. It's in my opinion just completely impossible. In my opinion,
I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
You would be well. You because you're stupid.
Whoa. Good
I mean, the best way to do it is for fly teams for a month beforehand for a self-quarantine. The best way to do it is literally just they can buy playhouses for them and they just play off of it. They don't need to be in the same place. It'd be better if it was an LAN, but if it has to do it with slightly higher, they'll instead of they all fly them out to Chicago or something or wherever it's at, and close to that.
You can't fly right now, can you?
You can literally fly in private planes. Yes.
They would get private planes.
Are you joking that a team that can spend $2 million on Huni cannot afford a private plane?
Logic, right? Oh my god. No. Well, I was saying it's everything's been getting canceled. If Worlds got canceled, then I wouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised that things are getting canceled this year because of what's going on.
They're not going to cancel Worlds.
I just don't see them doing it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
I would be very surprised if they did because it wouldn't make first of all, there's so many other ways to get around it. I don't see why they would cancel it.
You make a server and you fly them out. That's where we're
fly them to the LCS studio. Well, I mean, the LCS studio doesn't have good ping. I think they
also,
could
they
do
don't
that.
have good solo queue. They'll be.
I think
crazy,
honestly,
so
the big
mad.
thing about it is they can get some like the what's it called are based in Chicago now.
Yeah, the servers. Yeah.
The servers in NA are based in Chicago, so I think the best thing. I mean, maybe they can again. They still have the ability to do. I mean, well, minimal.
Ping, just, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you play in LA, I literally like again. I have ping up to 90 right now. 80 to 90 is normal for me in ping.
That's what I get too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing about it, first of all, is you can if you host server-based things with what's it called LAN servers, you genuinely just have the ping of the building. So if they can find a building for them to do it in, I don't think they'd have a problem with it. I just don't think they would do that because of the whole you don't want to keep too many people in the same room. So I don't know how they would do it.
They would.
It's like 6 ping. Well, no, 100%. That's what the.
Oh, that'd be incredible though.
Well, you're talking about the actual studio itself where they host the normal games, or no, they have the playroom in the back room. He's probably talking about. Yeah, I forgot about that.
God, I mean, there are ways you can do it. It's just the commuting with it is hard. Like, how are you gonna get the Chinese teams to even fly out here?
Fly them out.
How do you convince them to?
Why would they not come?
No, it's just I don't know.
Why would the Chinese teams who are gaining so much revenue from just competing at Worlds not come here? You can convincing the players to come is not going to be hard.
Well, what about the playing stage teams?
I mean, do they need to come?
Oh my
God! No, they're just going to do the same thing. Like obviously, it's the reality is they're just going to bring all these teams
out here
in.
from Oceania. Is that worth it?
Did you what? It's from Oceania.
Yeah, you're talking about the Oceanic first seed who will fly here to North America.
Do you know how
first
close?
And then go.
Like you're making it seem like Australia's like. We're talking about far. Like I believe Europe is farther than Australia is, right?
Isn't it?
Like from LA, yeah.
But on the globe, Europe is.
Europe is on the other side. You're talking about LA specifically, which is like Europe has to whatever. I don't know. The logistic is hard. It's not hard to transport people. They have like again, a lot of the teams can afford like privatized planes that you can still buy. You just can't fly in public planes. Like
hopefully this can start to taper off by then. I mean, to be fair, it might be done by July because viruses and heat don't really go well together.
Well, I mean, I don't know anything. I'm not a biologist. I don't know. I'm just saying if
do our research.
I'm not doing research on that. I'm gonna let everybody else. I have my mom with WebMD. I'm good with that.
His mom, when I come in, she's like, "You wash your hands?" I was like, "Yes, I wash my hands. Get out of my house."
You don't wash your hands, dude.
I'm a clean human being.
Hopefully this can start to take like I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I hope it does taper off just because the fact that my big thing about it is I don't socialize in real life, so now I have an excuse for it. So it's kind of working out for me some way. But at the same time, if it doesn't ever come out, then I'm not going to be able to buy new socks. And I buy socks very often. So I'm going to be
buy socks at the 99-cent store.
Do you guys think old world skins like Fnatic? I don't know. I mean, the big thing about it is a lot of the profit goes to the teams themselves for those skins. So I don't think the Riot would try and
because the players make a royalty off those skins if they're bought.
Yes. They would not really benefit too much from buying. I mean, like reworking skins they don't get the full profit on. But at the same time, I think that I just don't think it'll do it. I think it should. I mean, I don't. Fnatic looks fine. I just don't think they don't have the effects that the new skins do.
I just don't really like the new ones that much. The FPX ones.
The FPX they have a lot of good ones. They usually get some sort of visual update when the champ get reworked. It's not much. Well, no, yeah. I mean, champ updates obviously it wouldn't even make sense that they had the what's it called, the old Gangplank ults.
Right? I didn't like them.
I was fine with that. Look, there's a lot of visual effects.
The first one looks pretty decent, I'll say that.
The Gangplank one looks good to me.
I think they're very underwhelming. Like a lot of people were hyping them up, and I just thought they were pretty underwhelming personally.
I think that no, I mean there's the other ones besides those two I think are pretty bad. I don't think they're that bad. I mean I think they still look pretty fine.
Let me, because I might be.
But they have a lot of cool effects that the other skins don't have.
Ew, cool effects.
Like the base form of just looking at the skins looks terrible though.
I think they definitely dropped the ball on this one. These will not be remembered fondly in like years to come. I personally think.
I just don't understand how you say it. Like look at the way the champions move.
That was Malphite, right?
Oh, look at this. Look at you didn't even look at this. I think this is the beginning. Like It's like the recall animations, all that stuff. I apparently broke it, but it's all the animations and all that stuff look pretty good to me. I just think that looking at the skins themselves, like the Malphite one looks disgusting. Like I just think that looking like if you just purely look at the, what's it called?
Oof.
Like just if he's standing still and all that stuff, they look stupid. I mean, it's pretty easy to tell. I mean, I can tell the difference between Malphite and Gangplank at any point in time. I don't care if they're
barrels, one throws rocks.
I mean, yes, that's the only difference I can tell. I don't think it's hard to tell them visually when you're in game. I've never had a problem. I've ran into a few of them. I mean, I haven't ran into a few of them, but I've seen them played next to each other inside of the what's it called? I've seen a lot of skins like it. I haven't seen the FPX skins themselves. Sorry.
The recalls do look nice. I mean, but the recalls will look nice on any world skin though. The Samsung ones are good. The IG ones are good. It's just that, oh god.
I'm saying all the recalls look good. The ults all look cool too. I think that there's what? I didn't even know that existed.
The players are turning into their champions.
I didn't know that was the case.
I just think these are not going to get looked at as fondly from years to come. It's like there's nothing really special about them. It's just.
What do you mean? Look at that. Look at the standstill emote. You're crazy.
I don't know. This is not my style, personally.
That's because you don't have style.
What do you mean? Guys, I take a mental abuse from him every single day.
He doesn't even wear socks with boats on them. Doesn't know what style is.
Oh my god, he has my computer and he's playing it.
No, it's not your computer because there's not Doritos drenched all over the keyboards.
You're not a fan of Doritos?
I am not a fan of Doritos unless they're Cool Ranch. But, yeah, I mean, I have no problem with the FPX one. I think, again, the reason that their skins are underwhelming is because they, as a team, were pretty underwhelming, too.
Whoa.
I didn't like FPX. Like, FPX was pretty boring. Of all the Chinese teams, they were not interesting to me.
I mean, that's because they dominate the whole league, though.
They didn't. They were not that good. They were not dominant in China. They didn't look that much better.
They weren't as dominant as IG were.
They weren't good. They weren't even the best team in China. They ended up winning, but it was literally not by... What's it called? They didn't look better than
RNG?
No, IG. They didn't look better. Well, I mean, IG looks pretty mediocre for the most part, but they didn't look better than RNG. They didn't look better than Top for most of the year. Like they
were neck and neck with Top.
They just had a better record, and that's just all it was for me.
Could you imagine if he actually landed that barrel chain? I might actually get the Gangplank one.
You should never play Gangplank, please. Don't.
I played Gangplank before.
I don't want to play normals with you when you're playing Gangplank.
You think I'm just gonna run it down?
Like you're just not gonna do anything.
What do you mean? I know how to barrel chain. And
it's like the Power Rangers theme. It was pretty cool with the Malphite one where he transformed into Malphite. And I think they do it with all of those, right?
I think.
I haven't seen. We'll get. They just use the ult. I really like his ult.
Oof. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, guys. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, we got to leave out of here in like 15 minutes or so. But
yeah, they all transform into their players.
I mean, they're okay. I mean, I just don't like them in general. But I think
it's
they're
because
okay.
all of these. Well, imagine that argument. Imagine what argument?
What happened, Damien?
What is the argument?
The argument of being good looking versus.
Are you talking about me talking about? No, that was a long time ago.
Having like good socks.
Yeah, the socks just he does.
Why don't you buy socks for 99 cents? Right? They give you like 20.
Yeah, but they don't have boats on them.
They do.
They don't have. I have a lot of. Didn't look like that good. They just had a better record. What? I mean, I'm talking about their like again. I think a lot of the players were underwhelming at that point in time.
He's talking about specifically in the LPL.
I mean, it's just.
Right.
I think they weren't as dominant inside of the LPL as most people were saying, and they were inconsistent in terms of how dominant they were against the top tier teams. Whereas most of the teams like RNG and all that stuff looked really good against them. Like FPX had a playstyle that never lost to the low tier teams in any sort of way. They never actually lost their what's it called? They never actually lost the lead that they had. They were able to translate that well. But because they had such coordination, so none of the lower tier teams could come back. But they struggle against every single one of the top tier teams.
That's because their players
get
matched by the top tier teams.
They didn't get matched. They had worse players than the top tier teams.
No, I know, but like
they genuinely
if they are good at certain things that they're doing, then they're still going to get matched by their top tier teams.
Like again, they didn't win Spring Split for a reason. They
got upset by JDG.
They didn't get upset. They got stomped because they had worse players than JDG at the time.
It's best of 5.
It was what I'm saying is they got stomped in the play. Like each one of the games.
Games they won the same way. The games they
lost. I'm just saying. Imp was playing better than like they.
I don't know.
LWX.
Gimgun's
the top. LWX is Like, I know he had an undefeated record, but do you guys think TF Blade is better than Impact? I mean, I don't know. I've never seen him play on a coordinated... The difference between solo queue and coordinated pro play is a lot different, so I can't say anything. Mechanically, he looks better inside a solo queue, but he doesn't have the mindset for it because he tilts too easily. I mean, I wouldn't want to play with him. I think he's a really poor shot caller outside of, like... Well, not poor shot caller. He knows what wins games, but all of these things that don't win games, like these little... strats that he has, I don't think they would work well on the pro scene. So I don't think he would.
This should be G2 skins right here I'm looking at.
No, definitely should not. They should have not got 3-0'd then.
Golly, man. Just imagine losing to a better team.
Because Gimgoon weak laner, I love Gimgoon, dude. Gimgoon is a weak laner, though. That is 100% the case.
Dude, Abigail, I'm being honest with you right now. I didn't even know he was a Korean import. I was like, they're like, he's a Korean import. I was like, wait, what? That is like... It's like the Ryoma situation. I was like, why are you wasting an import slot on
Gimgoon 100% works out for that team. I don't understand. Like, first of all, he's extremely good mentally for that because he has such a good mindset even when he's getting flamed. Like, I really do like Gimgoon.
He's getting flamed. He wins worlds. Him and Looper will go down as like the worst top laners to win worlds.
No, I mean, probably not.
Yeah.
Are you talking about not like the early seasons, season 1 and 2? Because there's definitely a lot worse top laners there.
No, like modern era.
Modern era, they probably are the worst modern era top laners. But I don't think Gimgoon was bad. I think he really did know how. Like, Acorn and Looper just genuinely were terrible players that just got bossed around by Mata and their counterparts.
Yeah.
Like Gimgoon himself is a pretty solid player. Like, that doesn't translate well onto the pro scene because he's not great. Like, he's not mechanically that good. Like, he was able to get dominated by a lot of, like, the top tier players.
They literally put him on Gangplank duty because giving him
Gangplank duty is for carries. Like, Gangplank is a hard carry.
But that's, like, a later in the game. So, like, even if he fails early on, then
Can Khan be as good as Gimgoon? Khan is a better laner, better team fighter than Gimgoon, but Gimgoon is better,
a better player, too.
Better communicator than him, and he's, like, all around, I think Gimgoon just fits the style of FPX better, but Khan should be better. He's able to play carries, and that's just something that should be enough for him to be a tier up. But I think Gimgoon's functions so well. Like, there's something about Gimgoon with this team. Like, it must be something behind the scenes or something, because the team seems so less coordinated when Khan is in it. It's not even just like top lane or anything. It just seems like the team plays differently when he's in.
Yes, that's pretty good. I just think that
that's the word. Thresh skin sucks. I didn't like it.
This man won't like anything.
I mean, this is just a worse version of High Noon. Khan is a better all around player. I mean, I think he's better at everything, but
that goes into the argument.
I'm just saying,
a better player doesn't mean
he just doesn't work as well on that team. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know why he doesn't work as well because it doesn't seem like he's laning better. I mean, he wouldn't even lane that good on FPX this year. But he is a better player. He honestly team fights better too. But for some reason, everybody loses. I mean, they all lose to him. They all lose when they start playing him. I don't know what I'm about to say. Cook? What does cook mean? What does cook?
What's cook mean?
I don't know.
Cook my nuts.
Cool.
Oh, you're talking about Cool, the old OMG mid laner.
Is he or is he saying? I don't know what he's trying to say.
If you're talking about Cool from OMG.
Damwon versus Dragon X.
Ooh,
Damwon is, in my opinion, a better team right now. I think that when they lost that first time, like during the regular season, I think that what about T1 Roach? T1 Roach is just
T1 Cockroach.
I don't. Why did you think that was so funny? Why did you think that was so hilarious?
I told people they were not gonna play Roach. No, Roach. Yeah, I told people they're not gonna play Roach because Khan is better. Roach is not good. Roach is bottom of the barrel.
I'm just saying, right now, Kana is playing so much better than Roach that I don't see a reason. Like, I mean, again, I think Roach has his qualities that I think aren't terrible. He's not a bad player. I just think Kana is a substantially better player than him right now. So I don't see a reason as to why somebody would put him... Like, when it comes to the playoffs, I don't think they're going to play Roach. But the reason Damwon, in my opinion, doesn't look... Let me see. I don't think Damwon looks as good is because they're so inconsistent. They rely mostly on like mechanical outplay, but they're just not. They have a better grasp of the meta right now because as Dragon X is pretty heavily reliant on team fighting because Yes, Cool from OMG. Man, I don't think he's existed. Does he exist anymore?
Last I heard of Cool, he was coaching something.
I don't know I honestly have no
no
idea what Cool is doing now. I'll be real. Like, I have not kept up with that man.
I keep up with a lot of people, but Cool is blown out of my mind.
Cool was incredible. Like, he was incredibly fun to watch back in the day. Like, I think that he did not translate well into...
What was the guy they were all hyping up in OMG? Going? Yeah, he was like the old org. Like, OMG has like random spurts where they're good, and then they have random spurts where they're like 9th place in the LPL. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Damwon plays... My thing about Damwon is, first of all, they're hyper aggressive in the early game. They were able... Like, they literally won... Like, they first of all, I think they literally lost that series against what's his name? What is it called? Look at T1 Closer playstyle on YouTube. I will 100% look at it. Do you want me to do it? Like, do you want to do it? Like, I don't know. Are you wanting us to do it now? Because I genuinely think I need more than a highlight reel of somebody, because anybody can look good in a highlight reel.
I mean,
I
have highlight reels.
I would genuinely need a more solid way to watch Closer from whatever their academy scene to be able to have a genuine, like, a good opinion on them. Because I think a highlight reel is something like I could probably make a highlight reel of myself looking like I'm not completely boosted, like a completely terrible player. But I think that all around, just it's hard for me to just watch without actually having something solid to put in front of me. But I think that Dragon X is I think that when it comes down to the what's it called, the playoffs, I think the team that is probably going to win is still going to be
Hashtag Gen G win.
No, it's gonna. I honestly think that Damwon.
If SKT win, I'm not even surprised.
No. I think that Dragon X is probably gonna win this. If you want my honest opinion, I think that Dragon X is. I think that's only because that Damwon. No, you know what? I'm trying to think. Like, I think that. You don't know. I think that Damwon is probably gonna win this. I'm gonna change my mind on that. I think that Damwon genuinely just only lost the previous time. What? That's not even that. They literally almost won the previous time they played. And
I don't know.
You have a bad, like, just don't listen to this.
They're
man.
very coin flippy.
They're not like, yes, that's what happens when you have a mechanically extremely skilled team that's reliant on team fighting. And
I don't think they have the macro sense now to win.
Literally, the only thing Dragon X has is they force team fights because they have an extremely good ADC. Like, they don't have to win through bot, and that's the only thing that Damwon can't win through. Like,
well, Dragon X can win through mid. They have Chovy.
They can't win through mid against Damwon, in my opinion, right now. I think Damwon...
Who's Damwon's mid? Oh, I forgot. Showmaker? No, Showmaker. It's Canyon Showmaker,
I'm
right?
saying, my big thing about it right now is Chovy cannot beat him in lane. That's just the reality of it. I think the big thing about it is... Not the big thing about it. The big reason as to why I think that Damwon is going to win this series, though, is because, first of all, they looked really good in the KT series. I think they looked pretty solid in it. And on top of the fact they're faster paced than Dragon X right now. They're so much faster paced that I don't think it's going to make it into a solid stage for Def to be able to build up enough of a lead to be able to carry the game himself. Because Dragon X is mostly they're a straight up only bot lane reliant team that kind of translates into Chovy and Deft carrying late game.
Oh, if we're on an LCK discussion, we can have a little discussion. I'll give you guys 20 minutes, because I do have to get up for work in the morning. Okay. I'll give you guys 20 minutes. But because I had to get up at like 5. But
I think that, again, right now, Nuguri's playing pretty well. I think that...
I think Ghost has been a big upgrade for them.
Ghost was an upgrade, but the problem is they changed their playstyle once he came in. I think they started playing more bot centralized, and I think
it's more refined though.
It's not. It's only refined because bot centralized teams are able to team fight better. They're not forced into 1-3-1s anymore, so that means that they start winning a lot more games more consistently. But the problem with that is that they start They start having worse playstyles benefiting them. Their team is kind of centralized around having highly mechanical players in the solo lanes and trying to win off that. But they're not going to be able to do that if they have they're not going to force 1-3-1 comps now that they have Ghost. I mean, that's just not going to happen. They're not going to try and force these comps. Like they swapped to more so team fight oriented comps, and they've put more ganks from top lane, shifted it towards bot lane, and I think that's a big problem in my opinion. I think that with the players that you have in the top lane, like again, look at what NA and EU is doing right now. They're straight up only ganking top lane and ignoring the bot lane completely, throwing them a gank every once in a while. I think that's just the best way to go about this meta right now.
Like, you don't want to. What's that word? You don't want to completely ignore them, but you want to help them out when.
Well, I mean, they still gank bot, but it's not as consistently as top right now.
Also, if you guys are in the stream and people are watching, can you
don't say it? Don't say it. Don't say it.
Can you guys join the Discord?
Don't be so generic.
I'm asking, can you join the Discord?
All right.
That was just very, very well timed. But I don't know. Like, I would like if Gen G won, but the issue with being in the fight, it's okay. If you guys have ever watched what's that sport? It's like the fighting one.
MMA.
Yeah,
WWE.
Yeah, we'll use that. We'll use that one.
Which one? There's only like 3.
So you have like this thing where if you don't fight for a while, you get this thing called ring rust. So you're gonna be really rusty when an actual competitive game comes back. So I think that the problem with Gen G is waiting this long to face somebody when they do, which is like what, at the end of the month, they're gonna have some issues, because I think Gen G is a team that is really reliant on facing teams. I think they're also a momentum-based team too. So if they lose, I think game 1 in a series, they could easily get 3-0'd.
I mean,
I think them not playing in these earlier rounds is gonna hurt them.
I don't know about that. I mean, again,
or even T1, or even SKT.
I mean, how often do the teams in the finals win? I think it's pretty often, so I don't think ring rust is something that I would apply to this, because you're still able to practice. You're still able to do all these things, I think. I mean, how consistently does the team that started out in a higher bracket not win? Like, usually it's like...
I don't remember at this point.
It happens, but it's just not as consistent as the higher ranked seed winning.
Yeah, because, like, to be fair, Gen G gets to see everybody's strats, what they're playing.
It's just like, there's... I don't know what it would be the better situation. Like, if you can win through the losers bracket, maybe it's better.
You want to gain momentum going in?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure which one is better. I mean, all around, I think it's better to have the consistent I'm in the finals, because Gen G is not guaranteed to win. Rascal's still a problem of Gen G. He really is. Like, I keep saying that, and everybody says that he is consistent enough and he's working well enough for the team. But that's just not good. Like, Gen G is not going to win Worlds because he is just... They can't win Worlds with Rascal. He's not good enough at anything. He's genuinely just the worst Gimgoon.
That's sad.
Well, Gimgoon, like, he just doesn't... He doesn't have any functional playstyle right now. He doesn't play tanks well enough. He doesn't team fight well enough. He doesn't play any carries. Like, just the reality is, I wouldn't play Rascal on any of, like...
It's the thing he's saying is, if you go to Worlds...
Did I speak it? Why are you translating?
Oh my god! No, oh my goodness! Oh, trying to talk in his challenger talk is if you go to Worlds, you want to make sure you have nobody that's a weak point. Rascal is he a weak point to like that extent that you can bully him in lane and beat him so badly that you'll win the rest of the game?
Yeah.
Like, someone like Licorice could beat Rascal?
Licorice would beat Rascal, yes. It's like the way you said this is what he meant. It made it sound like I was speaking a separate language. And
Abigail, if we ever go on Discord for a live stream, you gotta join one day.
Stop being weird.
And just go for like our
So what happened to KT? They looked kind of bad this split along with Griffin.
KT, no, they had a spurt where they were doing really well.
KT literally won like 6.
They won 10 games in a row.
It wasn't 10.
No, was it?
I think it was like 6.
It was like 6 or 8 games in a row.
Like, I think that
they started out 0-5 though. No, they were actually pretty bad.
I mean, again, I think that I'm surprised they even made playoffs. I did not expect them to make
That's a step in the right direction compared to how it was looking last year.
I'm just like the reality. Like, picking up Ray was the biggest plus in my opinion. I think
they played Someone more.
Well, I'm just saying picking up Ray. Well, I mean, first of all, did they play Someone?
They played Someone more. Remember, they didn't play Someone in their last series more.
Well, I know, I get it. I think the reality is you have that secondary backup to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have 2 solid top laners on that, so their scrims go a little bit better. I think that most teams don't have, like, if you look at SKT, they have Kana and then they have Roach. They have stupid Roach. Like, if you crazy stuff, dude.
Oh my god.
I think the reality of it is, like, I think that this team all around functions pretty well.
Oh, we didn't talk about these other teams I want to talk about. There's a little.
I don't think KT is going to make playoffs though next year because they just don't have the player base to be able to do it. They don't have any. There's not a high skill ceiling on that team. It's just a high base. Like, there's a low floor on it.
God forbid they have Malrang. Holy moly.
Malorang.
They have Malrang? Yeah, I forgot Malrang.
Malorang is good.
I mean,
what was that about?
Malrang.
What was that tone you just
Malrang,
took?
I think needs set up to win. He's set up by his laners.
He's a really good player.
Like other junglers. Like, we saw him on Jin Air. and he was looking pretty. Ooh.
He looked fine the previous season, but he looked bad that split. Like, it was literally just one season he looked bad. It wasn't even a season. He looked fine. He was one of the best players on that team. Like, if I have to pick a best player on Jin Air out of everybody, he was it. He was the best player, and then I think it went to the bot lane.
No, it was the top lane. Remember, they had that one guy.
No, I don't like that guy.
What was that guy's name?
You're talking about. It was
Linderong. How do I remember these people's names? Holy crap! I'm
going to say all around. I think that he was probably the best player on that team, and I think that he didn't have the player base around. Like, Jin Air not only didn't have a function, they just didn't have any skillful players, and I think that's a big problem that KT has this year.
They also didn't have. They should have just never came on.
They're coordinated, which is something I'll give them. They should not have made playoffs with the player base they had, like the team.
I mean, Curl's been playing a little bit more better.
No, they just don't have they don't have any star players. Which streamer can do well in a pro? I mean, a streamer.
The last person I'm gonna say is just Yasuo. But
Yasuo would be trash, dude. It's all about mentality, and he has a bad one. If I have to pick a player that I think
I'm a Cutie Pie coming back to LCS.
I'm a Cutie Pie would do average. Like, at the very least, if you put him at a bottom tier team, they would be bottom tier still.
He could be middle of the pack if he really tried.
I think. Well, I mean, if I'm a Cutie Pie put all of his effort in, he would be the best player in the world, and that's because he already is the best player in the world.
He says if the enemy team doesn't know what you're doing, then that's how you win.
I don't think that's the exact way he said it, but he did say something like
that. You know what I was thinking about? Is that these LCK teams have some of the best players in the world, but they'll never get to show it because their parts of their teams are so bad. Like, the sums don't make up their parts, if that makes sense.
It doesn't make sense. I think probably the best...
The sum of the parts? Is that what I'm trying to say?
I'm going to say the reality is, if we're going to talk about streamers that could make it, I think Revenge looks pretty solid. I don't think... He doesn't stream very often. I don't know anything about other...
Revenge. Oh, the FlyQuest back academy player.
Yes.
He's actually pretty good.
What about Boxbox? Boxbox is not very good. I think that when he's not on Riven, Solar Renekton is only good on Renekton, which is the same thing about Boxbox. He's only good on Riven, and he's not Challenger anymore.
And the same thing goes with Yasuo. Yasuo's only really...
Yasuo's good on other champions. He's just not as good.
Solar Renekton or Rat IRL. Rat IRL is fun to watch. Oh my god.
He's not fun at all. He just flames too much, man.
Good lord, man. I love Tyler. Do you think Tyler 1 could be a decent pro?
No. I mean, I think he can literally... He actually translated a little bit well into jungle, which I didn't expect, but...
He played well in those show matches that he did.
No, he didn't. He got carried by stupid what's-his-name in the jungle.
Oh, by Contracts?
No, it wasn't Contracts. It was, what's that guy's name? That guy that always gets banned.
Oh, freaking...
Whatever. Doesn't matter. I think that there's not really any pros I would say would do well because, again, I think that I don't know enough about what goes beyond in the how well their solo queue experience would translate onto the competitive scene. I think that there's just such a large discrepancy between the two.
I swear, I almost got catfished by a girl before.
The fact that a girl was talking to you should have been a red sign right there. Like, nope, that's not real.
I think some of these dudes randomly in certain countries will have pictures of girls as their profile pics or their thumbnails, and they start catfishing me.
No one ever catfishes me. I just don't get matches. That's how you go about it. You just make yourself so ugly that no one wants to match with you.
But the last thing I'll say before we gotta go, because I'm getting old, is there's some really good players in the LCK, but like their teams are always do so bad that you never see it. Like, no one's gonna deny that Keen is an insanely world-class top laner. You know, no one's gonna tell me that fucking Summit is not a world-class top laner.
If you want my honest opinion, I think that player-wise, I think that FPX...
What can they do? They're playing out of their minds.
Well, Keen has been playing pretty poorly recently.
The last two series, but
I'm saying
Summit and Keen are like insane.
Okay, I'm gonna say. I think that if I have to pick out of top and FPX, I think that I would have to choose. Like, I mean, honestly, my big thing about it is FPX has their understanding from the previous season still translates well into this season because the meta in terms of early game objectives does not
gender male.
Yes, nice. The objective based control thing, it actually works completely fine with mid jungle kind of roaming synergy. I think that still works really well because you can get better control over bot side, which means that you get the early game dragons. I think that Rift Herald spawning 2 means that top lane is a little bit more relevant than it was previous season. But at the same time, I still think bot side is the defined best thing to get right now. I think that if you can get an early game like Infernal or any of that stuff, it's always a good thing to get. But I think that right now, mechanically and player wise, I think that top blows FPX out of the water just purely based on the rosters. But I think that
the shot calling and doing provides is too strong.
It's not too strong, obviously. They're not in first place, but
oh my god, that second place. Darn those rascals. I mean, pun intended.
No, I mean, I think the reality, I really do think that top is going to be better by the end of the season. I think that it's just too soon for them because Jackie Lev just got on that team. Jackie Lev is just too new on the team. I would, if top wins, I'd be happy. I really would prefer top to go because I like high mechanical skilled players to be on teams. But if I have to pick somebody, I don't think they're going to win. I do think it's getting at FPX, and I think FPX is probably going to get second place in the split. But
second, you're predicting top esports and FPX finals.
What?
Are you gonna predict that?
No.
Okay.
I'm predicting IG to win.
Oh,
I mean, it literally can't
it's
be.
It's weird though. They upgraded in support, but downgraded in ADC.
They didn't downgrade. I mean, they did downgrade, but they seem to have a lot better synergy as a whole team because they don't
like playing with Val.
No.
He must have been horrible to play with. I don't know.
But they smash E-Stars easily. I definitely agree with that. I don't think E-Stars is top 5. I think E-Stars is probably
the Griffin of.
Well, again, there's 7 teams that make it to playoffs. I think that my opinion is that I think RNG.
That's a spicy matchup, my first. RNG versus EDG.
EDG is not very good anymore. They got rid of iBoy, so I'm not too impressed with them anymore.
Who's that one guy?
I think RNG and EDG are probably. I think one of them is EDG is going to get relegated not relegated, but kicked out of playoffs next split, and I think that the teams that's going to take over for them is probably going to be.
Mako was actually still good.
No, it's going to be Vici Gaming probably taking their spot next split. Mako's still pretty solid. I mean, he's pretty okay. I mean, in terms of just players supports in China, I don't think he's one of the worst ones, but I think that he's not. JDG looks scary.
They are very underrated. No one really talks about them too much.
I mean, they're
very, very, very solid. They know how to play the game.
My problem is they don't have that standout player that a lot of the teams usually.
Yagao is Zune.
What I'm saying is they don't have that standout solid player that's translated well into they look scared. They're probably more well known in the Chinese scene, but no one knows about Yagao in NA or anything. They don't know about Kanavi and all. They just don't know about.
We know players. Kanavi. Kanavi is very well known because of the Griffin scandal. Remember, Kanavi was the player that Griffin wanted to slave contract to.
I didn't know that.
People know him as that person that Griffin tried to slave contract into.
I didn't know about that.
That's how he's known, but I think JDG is very, very underrated at the moment.
Well,
no one really gives them any, because they're not bad. They're very not bad. They are actually pretty good. I think their issue is that their star players are weaker than the other better team star players.
Well, no, my big thing. No, they literally I think their Loken is still, in my opinion, for the past 2 seasons, been one of the most underappreciated bot lane. ADCs in the league.
Actually insane.
Well, he's not insane, but I think he's extremely good. I think that he's one of the few players that can translate into Chinese, the Chinese territories, and still be a solid. Because in my opinion, I think that China has probably the best quality, amount of ADCs that are good inside of the entire world. They've had some of the best ADCs for the past few years, and most ADCs would not be able to get inside of. What are you doing?
I'm trying to look at Loken. I forgot where did he Loken.
Loken was on stupid. What's it called before? What do you
ever ate losers?
I mean, yes. Don't say losers. They were incredible back then. Ever 8 was so good back then. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, I was on Ever 8. Holy crap. Or ESC Ever, or what the hell they were calling him back in the day.
Nah, he was on top esports last season. And then now he's on this. He literally just swapped teams this season.
He hasn't always swapped teams, but I don't know how long you can actually play certain things.
I think that probably the best player on this team is still probably Kanavi. I think Kanavi is probably the best player on this team from what I've seen. But all around, I don't know what's going to be Ever 8. Ever 8 was the best. Ever 8 was the single greatest team that's ever existed that never actually made it past where they were at. Ever8 had Key, who was this like just incredibly good as a support. He was so good.
Most coin flipping.
It was they were just called Ever Esports back then. They weren't called. There was no 8 in their name or anything. That's back when they were in their prime, when they had Athena in mid. They had
Athena. Oh my god.
Athena was great. I don't want to like. They just had so many good players that they just all went to better places. Athena went and just
he played for BLG.
No, he just sucked in China. Like all these players, all these players got a chance.
Most coin flippy support.
Athena only exists in China because he did so well in what's it called, Zoom and Yagao. I don't. Zoom has always been the best player, like one of the better players on what's it called. I think that I didn't expect him to be good in the spring split. Puff is better than Jackie. No, Jackie is not. Jackie's substantially better than Puff. Puff just looks a little bit better because, like this, like if you look at the summer split last season, Jackie Love was the best player on IG by far. He wasn't even just the best ADC. I mean, just like one of the better ADC. He was just the best player on IG and was the single reason they were able to make it to Worlds. They wouldn't have made it to Worlds without Jackie Love last season. Like Puff is not that player. You know, Puff looks really good and is kind of just functioning well inside of the team right now.
You know what's super funny is that you know how they have those trophies that they sent the LCS team when they won them, because Cloud9 never got that trophy when they won, so they used that trophy in their picture today and they broke it.
Okay, I mean I don't care. They just didn't have the actual trophy with them, Joseph.
No, it was an actual trophy.
Today they didn't get that.
Riot sent them 2 that they didn't hand out to them when they first won the LCS.
I don't care. I mean, it's not interesting to me.
Oh my god!
I don't care about their trophy, the quality of what the state of their trophy. Like Zoom. I mean, again, the time that I saw him actually start popping off was the playoffs actually during what's it called, during the LPL in spring split.
When they're playing up against Rogue Warriors, right?
Well, it was just in general when they played against FPX. He straight up carried. They put him on Kale a few times, and that's when I actually saw him start.
No, it wasn't at FPX. It was on. You were talking 2018. That's
29. No, I'm talking about last year.
Oh yeah, you're right then. Yeah, what the hell?
I'm
crazy. Holy crap.
Last year they put him on KLF, like all these things, and he was the single reason as to why they were able to take these games off pretty much anybody.
Like Yagao is super underappreciated because people look at his series against IG last year where he got destroyed by Rookie, but I mean it's Rookie. What do you want?
Yagao realistically is not better than. I don't think he's better than Knight. I don't think he's better than Rookie. I think
like the best top laners.
Those are the best top laners, and they're
not
always.
Oh my god,
mid laners. If he could beat. If his team can beat anybody who had a better mid laner than him, but I mean, they lose to every better mid laner than him, they would not make it to Worlds because there's probably 3 to 4 better mid laners in my opinion. Is the Super Frost? They don't exist, but I think when what's it called? When Azubu when franchises come in, I think they're going to be one of the teams that can make it back in. I think that
CJ Entis could be back in the
CJ Entis is not coming back. CJ Entis is 100% not coming back. No, there's no way. CJ Entis had too much of a sour spot when they left to be able to come back. I would like them
relegated.
to come back.
Ooh, that'll not look good for them.
Well, they sucked. They definitely should have got rid. They made some of the best players in the world that were on their sub spot look terrible. Like they had Rainover before. They had a lot of
Ambition.
They had Trick.
They had Ambition, Trick, Rainover. They had
They had a lot of good players that they
Phoenix,
weren't.
Right?
They just had no player development on that team, and that's why once the good players like Coco and all them retired, Coco was incredible. Yeah, when they all retired, there was no one left.
Then you had Mad Life trying to coach a bunch of rookies, and he's basically an old man at that point.
You can coach people as an old man, you just can't play. And that's what he tried to do. That's why they sucked.
He tried to coach him, and it was like, you can't do anything. Like they're all just trash. They probably had the worst rookies to ever come in. No. The worst rookies ever was freaking that one real garbage team, Condu Monster. Oh my god, watching them play like one of the slice my wrist. Oh my lord.
Nice one.
Like people forget, who did Condu Monster have on their top lane spot? Roach, and where is he now? I mean, like, people need to understand.
Why are you clicking on all these things?
Oh, sorry. Holy crap. I was trying to look up Condu Monster.
You went to YouTube.
You guys should be seeing highlights of them. But yeah, we got about 2 minutes here before we got to cut out. I got to go home after this. But this has been great. I'm super happy that Cloud9 won.
If these sounds are going to happen all day. If you freak out on all of them, it's just going to be a constant thing. Can Fnatic Season 1 beat G2 now? No. Fnatic season
What,
1 would literally
Dang, are you trolling?
they would be put in the dumpster if they tried that.
Talking about Shusha in the mid lane?
If they had 10 people from season 1 onto that team, they'd still lose to G2 today.
They would have subs in every position and then backup subs, and they would still all lose.
Like, I'm just saying, like realistically, season 1 Fnatic could not beat anybody in the
Season 1
Pro Scene
Fnatic
today.
is...
Like,
Does anybody remember the first basketball championship? No, because it doesn't matter. Like, that's why season 1 has...
I mean, it still matters. It's just the reality is it doesn't they don't translate well into today. It still matters.
It matters for the context of history. It doesn't matter the context of...
There's no way to say it doesn't matter. It's just, it's not, they don't translate in today's society.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't say it doesn't matter. It's like, it doesn't mean anything.
It does mean something.
You're messing up all my analogies.
It means something. I mean, it's the first...
If you try to... It's like taking credit for it. Like, saying it matters in the context of now is like...
It does matter now. Like, literally, if you think about it like that, last year's FPX win doesn't matter because it's not now.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a relevancy to today's
That's how most pros
season.
think.
No,
what happens last season doesn't matter right now.
Well, that's because a lot of them are losers and they're sore losers. Yeah, that's because Reckless
said whatever happens in previous year has no holds on.
That's because every season he ends the season sucking.
No,
so he's bitter about that.
He was the best ADC in Europe for the split though.
This split?
Yeah. Who else is gonna beat him? Hansama in upset.
Why are you saying like they were trash? I mean, I don't think there was many good ADCs in EU this split. This was one of the weakest seasons I've seen out of EU in terms of ADCs. Well,
for both LCS, I think there was...
LCS had Sven, and that's Sven and Johnson. I think that they're not better, but that's one of the best I've seen for NA.
Like...
I'm saying EU has had historically great ADCs, and this is one of the worst seasons I've seen for them.
They don't even have
Oduamne is not an ADC. Don't say his name. He's the top laner.
Yeah, Cowboy shot on Vitality. They were like 1 in 16.
I just think it just seems like every season, and I mean EU is getting worse on the bottom bracket because they are just shoving the top full of the best players.
No, because if you want to be successful in the LEC, look at the positions to do it. Like
it's
mid and top laners are the key things for the LEC.
Wait, it's jungle.
Jungle is like the underrated one.
Jungle is the most important role in the entire region.
But no, speaking just like for EU,
it is.
You look at
Janko's literally just carried that entire playoffs just right now.
What am I confused on the role?
It's top lane is irrelevant. Top lane has been irrelevant in top for a long time.
Okay, so let's say it's mid and jungle for his argument because he's gonna be like.
Well, I mean, just what is top?
So let's go.
Team has been carried by top laner.
Perks Caps have been in mostly every single final since 2016.
Who cares?
You know what I mean? So like Yanko's.
It's the reason for that is because there's such a large amount of talent in that if you have somebody who's good in ADC, you're gonna get stomped in mid because every single other team has a great mid laner. Like there's not many bad mid laners in EU.
Some of them could be considered world class.
Maybe. I mean, not really. I mean, they're good enough to compete with a lot of the players, but they just can't beat those super good players out of China and Korea.
Yeah. Because there's a big difference between rookie, Caps, and Bjergsen. And Bjergsen is definitely the bitch in that situation. But yeah, this has been fun though. I'm really glad that C9 and G2 won. This is rare. This will never happen again. Like both of my teams win the same day. 3-0.
You like two of the most historically competent
I'm a samurai.
Things, you literally just like, what is the best team? And that's my team now. I remember back when he picked up Cloud9 is when they were doing the best out of NA.
It was in Worlds 2014.
When they were doing the best out of NA, and you were like,
TSM won that split though.
TSM was not doing better than them at Worlds, and that's the reason. There
fair,
was a lot of gigantic pop-tops they were doing. Like TSM's team, they just played Singe to get them because they didn't care. Like Cloud9, they were like backdooring, trying to backdoor with Zed and stuff.
Sneaky tried his hardest to beat Deft. He beat Deft in the game.
And my favorite thing about it is he always says if they had won that game, they might have won the series, and he says that so much, and it doesn't make sense. They almost snuck a win off, and instead of saying that...
Here's what was said, is that if the matches were switched, what if Cloud9 faced Samsung White?
They would have got stomped.
And then what if TSM faced Samsung Blue? Because I think TSM's playstyle matched more with Samsung Blue.
It didn't match with anybody. TSM didn't have a playstyle besides they just play... Yeah, that's literally all it was. I mean, that's pretty much it.
But yeah, I'm glad both of them won. It's kind of sad they might not be playing at MSI because it's weird because Cloud9 was the only old NA org to not go to MSI, and it just kind of sucks that this is the year they don't get to go and compete, as they are always the best LCS North American representative every single year anyway. It just kind of sucks that they don't get their MSI shot. G2 winning is like nothing surprising at all. I mean, I predicted them to win, so it's like, you know, it's fine. I love Perks, love Ocelot, love when it's them happy. Also, I love seeing the baby Fnatic fans crawl in their hole as they realize that.
Shut up.
I'm kidding.
All right, that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Something else you want to say?
Join the Discord.
No.
So that way you guys can get notified. Make sure you like the stream. This video obviously will be taken down and then re-uploaded later on. So thanks to everybody.
What is it? Why do you keep doing that?
Thanks to everybody who joined. Abigail, Damien, who else came?
Stop. You don't need to go through the list.
You gotta give them the social.
You don't gotta do that.
Anthony, you want to say before we leave?
I don't.
Do you like me?
I don't.
Do you love?
Hi there, guys! Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.